presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, everyone? Good morning and welcome into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-hosts, John Luke Garofalo and Andrew Cooper. Coop, a fiasco. Coop, we missed you, man. Did you find that Grimace treasure?
I did. Yes, I traveled out to Grimace Island, did battle with the treacherous
boss,
Uncle O'Grimacy, dude. And
he's the final boss of this store.
He basically just tries to dump like a shamrock shake on you, so not too hard to defeat, right? I found Grimace's treasure, and I gotta tell you, it was filled with riches beyond your wildest dreams. I opened that puppy up. Yeah, opened that puppy up. There were thousands and thousands of McDonald's Monopoly Park places in there. So basically, all I need to do is find some boardwalks, and I'll be rich, baby. So.
Yeah, said everybody.
Well, what do you mean?
Everybody would get the park place. It's the boardwalk that was tough, or the other way around.
So I went all the way to this. I went all the way to this Grimace Island for nothing.
There was like a lawsuit, wasn't there? Like a true scam going on with McDonald's Monopoly. Like, wasn't it like actually?
Yeah, there was like no other blue ones or something.
There was no way to actually win. They were like hiding pieces or something like that, or like it was like inside
them across.
I think I remembered. Yeah, you're right. They were like they were giving the boardwalks to like the people that knew the people at McDonald's kept winning, right?
Yo, Grimace was running the racket. And that's where all the blue pieces went into Grimace's treasure. Grimace was responsible the entire time.
Yo, I made that joke, that reference, like just immediately thinking you guys would fully understand what I meant about the Monopoly contest. You knew you were following?
So I knew that
Monopoly shit.
That was part of the bit, JL. That the park places knew worth nothing.
Oh, right.
I was kind of setting
that up. right.
Craig, and you're saying
you picked it up pretty quick though.
Yeah, I'm so smart.
So there's an HBO miniseries on the McDonald's thing. It was a fantastic watch. I might have to go watch that. Also, Craig saying Simon is still allowed to run shows while he's under investigation. Something is rotten in the state of Denmark. JL, I've been advised not to speak on this. Would you like to speak on this?
Yep. Yeah, I can absolutely take this. Yeah, we're taking every precaution at this time, but you know what? Screw it. What's the worst that can happen? Simon, you stay on the show. Don't worry about it.
The coalitions, just know that the coalitions of Andrew will not sit tightly on this one.
We would expect nothing less. Justice will be done.
You messed with a fellow brethren of ours, Andrew Metcalf. Why don't you go ahead and let the audience know what this litigation's all about?
Allegedly, there were points taken away or not given to a contestant on the fantasy football game show yesterday when they were earned.
And who was hosting that?
And Simon Grunewald was hosting that show. Now, this is alleged. I have not gone back to review the evidence, and what I think may be happening is a misunderstanding of when you get money and how the game works. That could be what's happening. Or another equally as likely scenario is that I did not give him his money and forgot to put it in there, and he doesn't have it. But in fairness, he was losing by more than $1,500, so he still would have lost just by less money.
Forth, but
he might have changed his gameplay style had his points been properly allocated.
Sounds like a Patriots fan.
Just saying.
Guys, I know that's the big news story today, but we'll have plenty of time to talk about it more. We do have other news that's happened throughout the NFL. Denver Broncos QB Russell Wilson expects to play Thursday night against the Indianapolis Colts. He was officially listed as limited on the team's injury report, and he said on Tuesday he expects to be a full go for the Broncos Thursday night game against Indianapolis. Any concerns over Russell Wilson? Russell Wilson's injury, not just in general.
What was the injury? He had too many spicy banana peppers on his Subway
exactly
sub.
what it was.
Cooked
That's
too
exactly
hard.
what it was.
I'll take you down. The first time I saw that video, I couldn't believe it was real. And then they pointed out the spicy thing he was talking about was the banana peppers. And I'm not sure if I get the joke. Is that the joke that it's like that's spicy for us? Because if they were going for that on purpose, then I think that's actually kind of fun.
Or is it just actually spicy for him?
I think that might be the second one, which is actually not funny. And then, which the video itself made the hair on my arm stand up. Dustin sent it to me, and I was like, "What am I seeing?"
I can't stand banana peppers. Like with a passion in my soul, I cannot stand a banana pepper.
You hate so many random things that I'm surprised.
Do you not like vinegar?
I love vinegar. That's why I think I should like it. But they're like sweet. Like it's like whenever and I feel like most of the time they're on pizza. If I want something sweet on my pizza, I want it to be pineapple, and then I want jalapeno with it and get that sweet spicy. Don't try to give me that sweet spicy with no spicy in one pepper. Like it's just like, why would I use a pepper to be sweet when I could just use pineapple to be sweet on the same pizza?
What about like in salads?
That's fine. That's fine in a salad. I guess it's really on pizza that I think banana.
It's just this one instance that it bothers you.
Banana peppers is an unnecessary topping for pizzas. They got everything covered better by other toppings.
I think that's fair.
Okay.
I don't think you should slander banana peppers as a whole.
You're right
over that.
You know what? This was a really positive moment in our relationship. Like instead of getting mad at each other, you were like, you know what? Let me hear you out. And we came to a point of like, you know what? You're right. I overreacted.
Productive
but we're back in the middle about banana peppers here.
JL actually never came to the middle with us. He disagreed with you.
No, I'm firmly on
no, this was just between me and you, Coop.
Yeah, you and I we learned something today. We grew a little bit.
I already knew all the right stuff.
Joe's like, I was right the whole time.
I was right.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, of course. You know, we could skip a lot of time just by asking JL what the right answer is for all this.
That's what I've been saying. Come on.
For the first time since the merger, the Steelers are 14-point underdogs this weekend against the Buffalo Bills. 14 points. Coop, JL and I were talking a little bit about this. What do you do here? Like, to me, it's almost like an untouchable line because it seems like the smart money is plus 14 for Pittsburgh. Like that's just a lot of points. But then I don't want to be the guy saying that this Bills team isn't going to beat them by 2 touchdowns with Kenny Pickett under center. Like, I'm not touching it.
The only time I go near these games is I do every once in a while. I'll do those teasers where you can take 2 games and add a touchdown to each one. I like doing them. There's a thing called Wong teasers where basically you take games that are like 6 or 7.5 and tease it with a game that's 1.5 and add a touchdown and bring one down to even. So like with 14-point spread, sometimes I'll do that where it's like I take another game I really like, take a touchdown from there and add it to this game. And now the Bills just need to win by 7. Like it's, kind of complicated stuff, but
kind of complicated stuff.
it's kind of fancy. It's kind of fancy gambling stuff. It doesn't
I mean
ever
to
work.
brag, but
if we're being honest, I'm glad you
work.
said that. It made me feel a little better because I realized whenever you said take a touchdown from here and put it on there, I was like, I lost you at some point during.
Yeah. Basically, it's like the way the teaser works is you take 2 games. Like so, this one, the Bills are supposed to win by 14, and then you take like the Vikings who are supposed to win by 7. Right. And then you kind of like, what's better? Or so it's like, the Bears just need to win outright. And, it's a little pen and paper type thing I need to show you. But either way, you can get it to the Bills only need to win by 7. That I like. Winning by 14, that I don't like. Too hard.
I like Tommy in here saying Pickett did not look that bad. 14 is a lot. That seems like a lock. So I guess bet the Bills.
Pickett.
Well, he's saying it seems like a lock that the Steelers should cover. So
I
then
know,
if it seems like a lock, and then he said, so I guess bet the Bills. He's poking fun.
I'll tell you one thing, Tommy. As far as guys in their first game that have only thrown 18 passes and threw 3 interceptions, he probably looked the best of those guys.
He's so rude.
As far as guys that came in and threw 3 picks and no touchdowns, he didn't look as bad as it sounds. I'll give you that.
Didn't he? Wasn't it Moody who said he completed every single one of his passes?
Yeah, which is hilarious, dude.
Just 3 of them were to the other team. But
13,
every pass was caught.
It's true. He's right, though. He threw 13 passes, 10 completed to the Steelers, 3 completed to the other team. So
nailed it. That is 100% perfection right there. Via Sports Illustrated, Tom Brady is reportedly dealing with a minor rotator cuff injury. Late in the second quarter against the Chiefs Sunday night, Brady was sacked by cornerback L'Jarius Sneed and fumbled the ball in the process. Kansas City would go on to recover the ball, but Brady could be seen on the ground holding his throwing shoulder. What's your concern level? What's your alarm level for Tom Brady if they're reporting that he's dealing with an injured shoulder?
Do we know what shoulder? Is it his did you say it was his throwing shoulder?
Yeah, his throwing shoulder.
I mean,
rotator cuff injury.
Pretty concerning.
Yeah,
I'd say, right?
Right. Yeah. The thing is two-sided coin here. One is that the guy's a competitor, so I feel like if he's gonna
play through,
he'll figure it out. But on the flip side, he's also a guy that is in a position to potentially say that he's done playing forever, right? Like some of these rotator cuff injuries are bad. Like think about Chad Henne. What could have been? Oh no, Chad Pennington. Like what could have been with him? And one early rotator cuff surgery took him down. Now, if you have one at Brady's age, could be seeing the beginning and the end. As sad as that sounds. On a side note, is L'Jarius Sneed not like the best name in the entire league?
It's fantastic.
Pretty sick name. Now, like Goop, what you said about him, like just packing it up and retiring. If we get halfway through the season and it's clear this isn't a Super Bowl caliber team, do you think that becomes more likely? Like where he's just out, doesn't waste his time finishing out the year if it's not a team that's going to make it?
With anyone else, I would say that is likely, but it's Tom Brady, man. I feel like that goes completely against his character. I think he would need to be hurt to the point where they need to put him on IR for him to. I don't think he would just quit.
Yeah. I see Jolly Rancher in the chat. Good morning, Mom.
Good morning,
welcome, man.
Mama Grunewald.
And she's in with some hot news for us saying Tom Brady's wife filed for divorce. I did see that report yesterday. So rough week for Tom Brady. That's not fun for anybody. So hopefully,
it's pretty crazy.
It is pretty crazy. It's wild. And
I'm sure it had to do with the football?
It can't just be like this year. Know what I mean? Like there's no way it's like, oh, you played. I'm at like there's something more going on. Maybe it's been a couple years where she's wanted them to stop playing. Like I don't need to speculate.
I was gonna say, I say we take this one and file it under none of our business. And,
like there's no need for us to speculate on why they're getting a divorce over there, but just know that sucks. And that sucks that he's having to deal with that and a rotator cuff injury and expected to play on Sunday. That's a lot to play under. We got Maria in the chat. Good morning, Maria. And
Good morning.
Albert, I see you over there as well. What's up, Albert? Welcome.
What up, Albert? Good morning, Albert. Hello, Albert.
Welcome in,
Albert. Maria, mom with the hot news. Fire emoji. Yeah, dude. We got the hottest mom, probably the hottest mom news in the industry on this channel.
The hottest mom news in the industry.
That could mean so many different things.
Right. And we got it all.
Joe, your mom texted me the other day and said, thank you for saving JL on air. Whenever you said I was so lucky to have my mom, she was like, you saved JL on that one. And I immediately
pointed out. You were the one that set up that whole trap in the first place.
Well, I saved you.
Maria said,
thanks for saving John Luke by pointing out the thing that he was most in danger of.
Saved. Consider yourself saved.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Maria says you should hire her. We should do. Should we do a little mom drama segment?
Mom drama,
dude. Anytime we have, or let us know. Maybe have her let us know anytime she has some nice mom drama, and we'll do a little quick mom drama break.
That would
mom
be the
drama
best
segment.
That would be the best.
I'm in.
That would be the best.
Would that be the best?
That would be the best. That would be. I got stuck in a loop there for a second. Like
Jail. You just saved Simon.
I just saved your ass.
No, see, the problem is you just set the trap. You didn't pull me out of it. You just like shoved me into a trap and said I saved you. Like
how'd you pull me out of it?
Well, I pulled you back and said, "Whoa, don't step in there."
Bro, you were all looped up in the mom drama. He jumped in that pool. He jumped in that pool with you, dude. Saved you.
Come on, just give me
I threw you
respect.
that flotation device.
Yeah, dude. Say you're welcome. Say thank you, dude.
He won't.
Yeah. Say thank you.
He's talking to you, Simon. You dingus.
Move on. Let's move on.
Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones says QB Dak Prescott not ready yet, but leaves the door open for Sunday. He said he would not rule out Dak Prescott from playing Sunday against the Los Angeles Rams. We acknowledge the quarterback's grip on a football is not well enough to play at the moment.
Ooh.
Jerry Jones,
I love Jerry.
He just runs around like, yep, I haven't decided if Dak's playing or not yet because that is my decision. Like he's just running around like he does everything for the football guy.
That's him, dude. He's like, I know we don't need to come out with our first injury report until Wednesday, but mid-May he's talking about Michael Gallup when he's going to return. Like he cannot keep his mouth shut. He can't contain himself, and I love that, dude. That's great for us.
He loves the attention.
I love that, and that's great. I wish everyone was like that. You don't see Bob Kraft doing that.
And Craig says you would not love him if he owned your favorite team.
Oh, of course not. But I'm a unbiased observer, so I enjoy him.
Yeah, I think
could have Dan Snyder, so could always be worse.
Could always be worse.
Yeah, he is awesome.
Jerry Jones. Like I'm not saying I don't know what kind of person he is, but he's not Dan Snyder, and he's at least entertaining. Like he is truly entertaining to watch. And just like predictably unpredictable. Like they're going to go off script in the draft because Jerry Jones is going to want somebody. We're going to get a crazy quote or two throughout the season. What do you guys think about Dak? If Jerry's saying he might not be ready for Sunday, what do you think that means for Dak's availability? Are we seeing him this weekend?
No.
Probably not. If he can't grip a football, it seems like just a entry level requirement for playing.
Like very bottom level. Like
yeah,
the
very
first
bottom
thing
level.
They check is can you grip this tightly?
They need to double check Daniel Jones.
Somebody did not check that guy.
Somebody did not check the first thing, yeah. Or Trevor Lawrence this week, right?
If this one snuck through QA. Can someone come take another look over here?
Kenny Pickett.
Little hands. I'm just a little guy. I loved how much of a thing that was like how obsessed with his tiny little hands people got. Just can you imagine like you log on one day to Twitter and there's thousands of tweets just shitting on you for having little hands? Like
I can absolutely imagine what that's like. Dude. Yeah, actually, I feel like
can you, JL?
Yeah, I feel like that's my whole brand is just getting dragged on Twitter. So if it was hands, if it's bad food takes, whatever it is, it wouldn't be that surprising.
Yeah, I guess that is true. You're the only fantasy analyst where other fantasy analysts have sent me pictures of you independently via text. So
really, man, that's like a next gen stat level stat.
It's just that one picture. That Mike Fiala sent me that one picture of you holding the football where your eyes are completely shut.
Yeah,
like this. Which
fun fact, took that picture completely in earnest. Was not trying to make that face.
That is one of the greatest pictures of all time, dude.
That's why I haven't taken thumbnail photos since.
Yeah,
you don't need to. You got the best one ever.
My favorite lie is telling Jay every single week that I'm going to
I'm totally going to get to this.
Pictures. Oh, yeah, without a doubt, those will be sent to you today.
The best part is he's not watching right now, so he has no idea.
I don't mean to lie, but I know it's going to turn into one. Know what I mean? Yeah. So like, I guess maybe it is. I mean to lie. Like when I say it, I'm like, I'm going to take these pictures. But as I'm saying it, I also know I'm not taking these pictures.
Let's be honest. It's his fault for asking so much. Because I wouldn't feel pressured to lie.
I wouldn't feel pressured to lie either. If he would just let me avoid this task, then I wouldn't have to lie to him about it. Like it's that simple, Jay. And you're asking me to take pictures. I hate pictures. I hate pictures. I hate pictures almost as much as banana peppers on pizza. If I had to rank it would go banana peppers on pizza, taking pictures of myself. And the only reason it's not something I hate more is because occasionally against my will, I do look hot in a picture. Whereas banana peppers are never hot on my pizza. So
hate when that happens.
I hate when that happens. Tommy says, we need a Simon hate board. Yeah, we got to create one of those. And Coop, Tommy had a question for you. He said, hey, Coop, what do Peyton Manning, Cam Newton, Andrew Luck, Trevor Lawrence all have in common other than being a quarterback?
As rookies, they led the league in interceptions. Is that the
guess? I was guessing it was something interception related. All through 3 picks in a game rookie season. Just saying, Pickett has the it factor, and I hate the Steelers. So he thinks Pickett has the it factor. Do you think he's got it?
I mean, I don't know. The person that I go to when it comes to the it factor or the swag factor is actually Chad Johnson. Chad Ochocinco seems to have his finger on the pulse of who has the swag factor, right? Like, going back to when he said it was like Tom Brady's black, and everyone's like, "What do you mean by that?" He's like, "Ask Tom. He knows what I'm talking about." And then his most
Chad
recent
Johnson, man, I forgot just how out that dude's got some
amazing,
lines.
bro.
If you just Google Chad Johnson quotes, that dude's been killing it in the quote game for 10 years.
But I also trust him. And the most recent one that I trust him on is he says that Zach Wilson has that swag factor. He said Joe Burrow had it, and now he says that Zach Wilson has it. I trust him.
I remember him saying about Joe Burrow. I hadn't seen it about Zach Wilson.
Yeah, he's in on the Zach Wilson swag meter. So it's hard to argue with him, dude. He's a swag connoisseur.
He's a swag expert. He's just a certified swag expert.
Easily.
Certified swag expert.
You gotta get him on. Swag wagon, Tommy says, dude. Yeah,
swag wagon. A swaggin'.
The swag wagon, dude. And
hop in the swag wagon.
Yeah.
There's two things that could be.
Keith, get Chad Johnson on the show, please. Thank you.
Oh, please. Why haven't we had Chad Johnson on yet?
Kind of crazy he hasn't been on yet.
We got to bring him on and play the most absurd game of hypothetically.
Yes, I feel like he would love that.
Oh, he would kill it. He would be so good at it. Oh, Keith said he's on next. Oh, cool. Oh, wait, he just canceled. I'll kill you, Keith.
Dude, who would get him on? We might need to get Ernie on this one. We might have to call in the top guns. I know Ernie's super busy doing top secret stuff, but we might have to get Ern Dog can make it happen. No question.
Top secret stuff. Like what, Coop? What's some of that top? Give him a little taste of the top secret
what's
stuff.
What's Ernie's latest mission?
Dude, do you think I can tell you that? I'd have to kill you. We meet every month on Grimace Island. We talk about that stuff.
Grimace Island. You've already said too much.
The powers above. So
now Craig's gonna be able to. If you think Craig doesn't know where Grimace Island is, you're crazy, Coop. He knows right where it is.
Freaking invented it.
Craig and Jay are both now in the Grimace Discord, which is excellent.
Is it just you guys in there?
No, it's not, dude. Other people were like, "Welcome" when they jumped in, dude. We got a squad, dude. Yeah, probably one of my most active spots.
I have to imagine nobody else in there is under 60. It's just all 60 plus people that collect McDonald's toys. Know what I mean? Like you walk into their house and they're the people who are on TV. This quirky couple from Dubuque, Iowa, has the world's largest collection of Grimace McDonald's toys. And you go in their house, there's a Grimace clock, every shelf space covered with it. That's who you're in that Discord with. I can picture
at least 6 people in here have Grimace related names, and it's definitely their name on every Discord.
They only are in Grimace Discords. That's all he's got going for him.
Yeah, I'm trying to be a mod.
Or trying to get that mod status.
Trying to get a mod stat, dude. No big deal.
We had one more piece of news, guys. Tyler Algier sits at the top of the Falcons depth chart. In week 5. In week 4, he took 10 carries for 84 yards, and he's expected to lead the Falcons backfield while Cordero Patterson was placed on IR. Though Caleb Huntley saw 10 carries this past week, he was still listed as number 3 on the depth chart behind Algier and Avery Williams. We talked a little bit about Algier yesterday, JL, as a potential pickup. Coop, what do you think about this situation? Is Algier worth starting?
I think he is, man. This whole depth chart thing has got to just be some sort of rookie hazing or something. I mean, you guys know who Avery Williams is, right? He's not even a get that mitt out of here. Get it out of my sight. Avery Williams he's not even a running back. He's he's a cornerback. He's a cornerback that they had return kicks, and then he couldn't play corner, and they're like, maybe we'll mix you in at running back, but that dude's not a running back. So I'm not worried about Avery Williams. I know Caleb Huntley looked good, so maybe, but I think Algier's got the early down rushing role locked up.
Ah! Yeah, I tend to agree with you. It was too much jail. Where's your toy?
I don't have one. I'm a freaking adult.
Where's your plant, dude? Where's your plant?
There.
No, but Coop, I agree with you there. Caleb Huntley, maybe he gets the goal line work, but Tyler Algier is going to get most of the main work. Are you afraid of him being just a water carrier, carrying the water down the field, and then Caleb Huntley punching it in?
Afraid of him just being a running back on the Falcons? A little afraid of that. No, I don't think he's. The water carriers are most dangerous. I mean, I guess Mariota is a pretty mobile quarterback. He hasn't really been scoring, but he's been running like at least five times a game. He ran 12 times in week 1, which is wild for me. But so I guess that is a bit of a water carrier alert situation. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. That could be a good call, Simon, if he does have one of those games. So, but I think at this point, if you lost Javonte Williams, if you lost Cordell Patterson, you had to drop your fab somewhere, right? So you had to either go with Boone or Algier, either one. Not Boone. Boone, I guess. Yeah, Boone. So Algier is probably
not Boone. Well, Boone. Yeah, I guess.
Boone.
I guess
Boone. Maybe Boone. Yeah, but would you guys have rather had Boone or Algier? I think I was sick yesterday. I mean, I was at Grimace Island yesterday, so I missed the waiver. I imagine that you guys did the thing, the bracket.
Yeah, we ended up picking. Oh, I was gonna say something stupid instead, JL, but no, we did go with Mike Boone over Tyler Algier.
Fancy.
Very cool. But it was close. It wasn't like a wildly like this separated decision. Well, those English words just left my brain for a second.
There was a little bit of a Boone, not Boone debate there as well.
Yeah, Boone, not Boone. Oh, and Coop, what I realized was the player I was talking about the other day, where I was like, every season they make themselves relevant. They do some great play. They become relevant for a week or two, and we end up having to talk about them, was Mike Boone. Mike Boone was the guy I was trying to remember who had like a sick return as well.
Oh, see, I thought it was the next day.
I watched the return you were talking about that you texted to us, and I was like, that's a sick one, but that's not the one I was looking for. That's not the one I was thinking of. It was Mike Boone, I'm pretty sure.
Because mine was Dwayne Harris, and he does pop up on the radar every once in a while too.
He does too.
Is he a guy? Is he not a guy?
It fit every criteria I had laid out in front of you for the player we were looking for. Also, we've got Mariota is tied for second or third in QB rushing touchdowns so far. Yeah, I wonder, it's 4 weeks in. I wonder who the leader is. I imagine Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts, maybe Daniel Jones. He punched in 2 this past week as far as rushing touchdowns go. Guys, coming up, we've got some trade targets talk that we're going to be going through, and we'll be playing some poll perception as well. A little bit later, Kyle Elfrink is coming on the show, and then we're going to talk trade values with our friend Alex. Right now, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis.
Alvin Kramer, about if I had to guesstimate about an hour before game time, gets ruled out, and it lights the world on fire once everybody wakes up. That had Alvin Kramer still in their lineups. You got West Coasters trying to get a redo or trying to get a sub in because it's unfair that they have to wake up so early to get him out of the lineup and make sure that everyone who's active and in the lineup should be. But isn't that fantasy football, man? Didn't we warn everyone about this?
Yeah, we had this exact conversation last week, which is why it was so funny when I saw all these people on Twitter complaining and asking for a retroactive move. Because this same situation happened the last time I think Saints were in London, and I went over the story. It involved Alvin Kamara. Same thing. My opponent had Kamara in the lineup, and in the halfway through the game, he asked the commissioner, hey, I don't even know where maybe he was California, somewhere on the West Coast. Oh, I woke up late. I didn't know he's out. Can I replace him? And the commissioner comes to me and says, hey, your opponent wants to replace Kamara. I'm cool with it if you are. I said, no, I'm not cool with it, man. This is just like anything in life. It's your responsibility. You knew that there are going to be games at 9:30 a.m. Eastern this year. I hate waking up early, but you just have to wake up early and do it.
What's stopping you from going back to bed? That's the big thing. What's stopping you from that? You get up, change your lives, go pee, go back to bed. It's one of those things that from now on, when you have anyone involved in London games that are the least bit questionable, including injuries that you see late in the week, let's say this happens, all of a sudden, minor tweak for someone, like you're still waking up that morning to make sure that player is playing. It's a few weeks a year in Rome. We're lucky that the NFL doesn't go completely worldwide and we have games in different countries every single week.
Front Yard Fantasy with Simon, JL, and Coop.
Dude, Jeff Wilson looked fantastic last night.
No,
did you see that?
Jeff Wilson had one great 32-yard touchdown.
Did you see the run? Did you see the run?
JL, the run was incredible. But I just want to look at the rest of this stat line to tell you why I'm not excited about Jeff Wilson. 18 for 74. That's why I'm not excited about Jeff Wilson. 18 for 74 with a 32-yard run. So really, That's what's 74 minus 32. Without that one run, that's 17 for 32 yards. Or
4.1 a carry? You're complaining about 4.1 a carry?
Yeah.
Why? 4.1's not that bad.
It's jail. Without that touchdown, we're looking at a 17 for 42 yard game, which is like whatever. You know what I mean? Like, okay, it's fine.
18 carries. You were turning your nose up at 18 carries.
I don't hate Jeff Wilson. And it's not that I won't start him. I think he's a perfectly fine start, but that's where the line ends. Anybody who thinks he's anything more than just a fine start is where I have a problem. Like he's just not exciting. He's not a player that's going to just completely blow up on a given week. He got the touchdown this week. You're thrilled. But next week when he doesn't get the touchdown, when he's 18 for 57 yards, you're going to be like, well, shoot, another classic Jeff week.
Better Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. And apparently Jeff Wilson is my enemy now. I didn't know that. I was listening to that. There was a little bit of vitriol in there. I didn't know I sounded so spicy when talking about Jeff.
That was a little banana pepper spice talk there.
That was real
Russell
spicy.
Wilson better not listen to that take. Yeah, he's gonna be just mouth on fire after that.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
I forget all the conversations that we have on the show. So I will play it and I was like, oh wow. So that's what we were talking about.
I stand by every word I said though. Jeff Wilson, I like you as a man. And that's where I'm gonna end that sentence right there.
That's it.
Tommy said pop quiz, hot shots. Okay, here we go. Oh, he's calling us out right now. He said in PPR, there are only 3 running backs in the top 20. Who are they? No cheating. So the top 3 running backs, I would imagine, are the 3 that are in the top 20. So you could have just asked who are the top 3 scoring PPR running backs as well.
But I like
it this way because there's a fun fact in here as well, right? Like that's good trivia writing. Tommy, I take back what I said because this is how you write trivia. You throw a little information in there,
spin in there, a little sauce in there. If I had seen this question
Saquon
in the chat
Barkley,
earlier,
probably, right?
I definitely would have cheated.
Saquon Barkley's got to be up there, right? He's the top
Barkley's
scoring running back so far. I think Nick Chubb is probably still up there.
Yeah, even in PPR.
Gotta be.
Listen to this. Yesterday, I was looking at the rushing leaders, like at the stats for the season. Saquon Barkley, number 1 with like 460 or something like that, or 461, 462. Nick Chubb, number 2 with like 459, right up there. Then Miles Sanders is number 3 in rushing yards with like 356. It's like 103 yards less than Nick Chubb. Through 4 games, Nick Chubb and Saquon Barkley have separated themselves from the rest of the field by over 100 yards. Like that's absurd.
I mean, last year Jonathan Taylor was far and away the leader, and Nick Chubb was second with like 1259, which isn't even that much, dude. Like the league is so weird now.
Derrick Henry was like top 10, and he only played like 8 games. Like he was up there in that list. Dude, I got Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb, and then for that third one, I'm a little
dude. The third
Edwards-Helaire.
The third one, no, it's I know this one. It's Eckler after this week because Eckler had.
Are you serious? That's so dumb.
He had so many. Eckler and TJ Hawkinson just came out of nowhere. We're like, just kidding. I'm good. The thing with Eckler is he had the targets all along, so he's always been good in PPR, but then he just scored touchdowns. So now he's amazing again, and everyone could shut up. And that happens all the time in early season. I get so much hate for my tight end rankings because people are just demanding that I move Pitts all the way down to like tight end 15 or whatever. You know what I mean? But they forget that in like 2020, Logan Thomas through 6 games, not 4 games, through 6 games was tight end 26. But he was running all the routes, playing all the snaps. So I kept him at a decent spot in my rankings, and everyone was like, no. And then he finished as tight end 4, right? Like you have to care more about the underlying stats than you do about fantasy points scored so far. Otherwise, you're going to start ranking OJ Howard as like tight end 5. You know what I mean? Like you have to care about the underlying stats. If Austin Eckler's getting 5 to 10 targets a game, he's an RB1. It doesn't matter if he scores a single touchdown. In full PPR, if you have any games with like 8 targets, then you're fine, you know?
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
Tommy down here letting us know CEH is ranked 21. Fun fact, man. It was close though. Good guess, Simon. Thanks, guys.
He's not 21.
I really appreciate it.
He has a bunch of touchdowns, right?
Ranked 21st out of not of running backs, of all PPR.
Oh, of all the PPR players. Oh, okay, so he's RB4.
He's number 4. He's the number 4 running back, but number 21 overall. Coop, JL, are you guys ready for some poll perception?
Yep.
We're about to play some
my favorite
poll
game.
perception. It is the game that tests your knowledge of the public's perception of fantasy football or the NFL landscape, or just the landscape of something else in general. I'm going to propose a poll to one of our contestants. JL, I'm going to ask you, what percentage of people chose side A in this poll?
36.
JL's going to give me a
Wow.
percent. He's always going to be guessing on side A, so the first option that I list out. Coop, you'll then be responsible for guessing whether the actual answer is over or under JL's guess. Over. Coop taking the over. Now, Coop, if you're correct, you're going to get 2 points. JL, the closer you are to the actual percentage, the more points you would get. Up to a maximum of 10 if you're exactly right, a minimum of 0 if you're more than 15 away, and it scales up in between there. We will alternate back and forth like this through 4 polls. And then in our 5th and final poll, both of you will be guessing a number. Whoever's the closest there is going to get 5 points, unless you're exactly right, in which case you will get 10. The person with the most points at the end of that is our winner. And of course, I always forget there is one more option besides over and under you can choose. If you got the cojones, if you think your opponent's guess is exactly right, you can choose to queen bee their guess instead of just taking over under. That means that their guess is the right answer, in which case you will also be awarded with 10 points. You guys ready?
Yep.
JL, would you like to go first or second?
Second.
JL will be going second. Coop, you are going to be going first. Are you ready for your first poll?
So ready.
This poll comes to you from Theo Ash NFL. The question is, do you think Arthur Smith is a good coach? Side A is 40%. Oh,
Yes. 40%. That's my guess. Final guess.
What is wrong with you? What's the
JL.
matter with you?
JL, quick. Queen bee that. And we'll be.
Queen bee, all the points.
All right. Scores 10-10.
10 to 10.
Next question.
This has happened twice on the show. We've been playing poll perception for like 2 years on our YouTube
See some
channel, and I've never
see
once
some guesses
done
in the
that.
chat coming in. 40%. We have 40%.
40%.
Looks like everybody's on the right page today.
Tommy, what the hell? Why'd you guess 50%? I just told you the answer was 40.
You ding dong.
Okay, so we just learned this was actually just a fact. This wasn't a poll. I was just telling you a fact that 40% of people think Arthur Smith is a good coach. Apparently, Coop, I apologize for just fumbling this one on that. Do you think Arthur Smith is a good coach? What are your thoughts on Mr. Arthur Smith?
That's a tough one. I do think he's a good coach. I think he's not a great coach for fantasy football. I will say that his style of hard-nosed blocking tight end, run it vertically, is not great for fantasy football. It's great for Cordell Patterson, who is now hurt. So it'll be great for Tyler Algier. But yeah, I don't know. I think he's a fine coach though. I mean, he has the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons are 2-2. So it's hard to say he's bad, right?
Yeah, I mean, God, I'm telling you, I'm gonna say it again, but the New York Giants are 3-1. And they are bad. Like, I'm so confident that they're bad, but they're 3-1. Like, give it a couple more weeks. Like, I want to see this team's record in week 8, because it might be 2 and. How many do we add there? 2 and 6. Look at that math right there. It's like, I was about to say 2 and 10. I was like, no, we already did some of those games.
Pretty smart stuff on the show today.
Pretty smart stuff. Okay, now we're gonna move to our first.
I like Craig in the chat. Controversy is ruining Simon. He's cracking under the investigation.
Is that true, Simon?
Is that true?
We have good lawyers.
I can't comment. I can't comment on that at this time. I cannot comment on that with this time. So I just wanted to let you know. Our next poll, Coop, this comes to us from the Packers Without Borders Twitter account. Okay. Packers Without Borders. It's uniting Packers fans from around the world.
Dude, what
where
a
this
what a,
came from.
what a
So-
silly name to name your organization.
So an unbiased,
Right.
unbiased account.
They're like, what's the most similar thing to us? Huh? Doctors Without
Doctors
Borders.
Without-
That sounds about right. Let's go Packers Without Borders.
United Packers Nation here.
We're about doing the same thing.
I was watching this TikTok yesterday, and this guy was like, you know what's the weirdest thing in the world? It unites people from all backgrounds, Republicans, Democrats, like Europeans, Americans, like whatever. Like if you went to Alabama or you went to Auburn, like this subreddit has more than 1 million users, and they're all united over one thing, and that is no FAP. No FAP is the one thing that unites 1 million people. They meet each other and they shake each other's hands. They're like, I know where that hand hasn't been. Like, it's just, it doesn't matter what your background is. That's where they're all just fully united.
Dude, do you think that's weird, dude? There's a subreddit that has 300,000 members where they just staple bread to trees. It's called Bread Stapled to Trees. And if you go there, I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed.
Am I gonna see some bread
They
stapled to trees?
deliver on what they promise.
I think if you sort by new, top, you're gonna get exactly which game for you. Well, the top post right now, is here's a picture of my first staple, split top honey wheat on oak. I think.
I think is the cherry on top of the cake.
He said he was new.
I think.
He said he was new. It does look like an oak.
What did you say? Split white honey wheat on oak? I think
split top honey wheat on oak. I think, and it's clearly split top honey wheat. I don't know if the tree is an oak or not. Somebody in the comments will probably let us know. Somebody goes, the top comment, I like your style.
I like your style.
I
like your style.
I've been subscribed for a long time.
Yo, that bread tree combo is unconventional, but it works. This man's a genius. He's a natural.
He's one of the best. Pretty smart stuff. Like right out the gate.
Coop, here is your poll that comes from Packers Without Borders. Who is the most hated franchise in the NFL? Side A, the Vikings. Side B, the Patriots. Side C, the Buccaneers. Or side D, other. What percentage of people said the Vikings in this poll?
So I think the Patriots are going to win this particular poll. And, it's Packers.
And then the question did say, who is the most hated franchise in the NFL? That's what the poll says, but it does come from a Packers account. So there's some psychology going on here.
Okay, so the Vikings will be higher than normal, but I still think the Patriots would be pretty high. And I don't even know why the Buccaneers would be on there. I feel like any unbiased poll would have to have the Cowboys as one of the options, right? Aren't they routinely one of the most hated teams? So I think the Patriots will still win this poll, but I think that because the Vikings are the Vikings and it's a Packers poll, they'll be somewhere in the 30 or 40%. Why don't we go with a 35er on this one?
35er on this one, 3-5 and straight vibing. JL, what do you think? You vibing with Coop? You going with the Queen Bee, or you taking the over, the under on his guess of 35% on the Vikings side?
Let me just add one thing before you say it. Vibe or die, bro.
Vibe or die.
Vibe or die.
Yeah.
Can I get the options one more time?
Sure. Oh, from me?
Yeah.
Vikings, Patriots, Buccaneers, other. Comment.
I'm gonna take the under. This one
Dale
is
taking
tricky.
the under.
Yeah, the whole Packers thing really throws a wrench in it, but I think enough people hate the Patriots. It's gonna be
JL betting that Packers Twitter is
reasonable.
Is reasonable.
Yeah. Probably a
God.
bad bet.
And guys, if you're watching and you want to play along, throw your guesses in the chat and we'll shout you out if you're very right. We'll mock you if you're very wrong, and probably nothing if it's just an average guess. We'll just ignore you, which is worse than mocking you or shouting you out. Just be like, yeah. Maria's going with your 3-5. Coop in the chat agreeing with you over there. The actual percentage of people that chose the Vikings in this poll was 33%.
Nice.
Coop, only 2 percentage points away. You read that poll just about perfect.
We got it, Maria.
Your breakdown was perfect. Coop, that is going to bring you 5 points, bringing you up to 15 after you nailed the first one. And JL, that is going to give you 2 points for correctly picking the under, bringing you up to 12 after you properly queen bead the first one. So the score is now
That was a good guess.
15
Good guess,
to
good.
12 right there. Tommy with a guess of 25, a little late, but you would have gotten points on that one. You're still in the zone.
AutoZone.
We've done so many free commercials for AutoZone on this
I know.
channel. And on
It's
the
their
Sunday
fault.
one.
It's their fault for being so catchy.
I know, they've
How come
done
all
good.
the auto parts stores have like the best songs? Like O'Reilly's jingle, that's a top tier jingle
Terrible.
right there.
That's terrible.
No, it's
O'Reilly's
It's
truly awful.
auto parts. Ow! You got to add the little spice at the end,
Simon
right?
dude, that was too good.
My true secret is that I'm the voice of the O'Reilly's auto parts commercial. It's what I do in my spare time.
I figured that might be the case, dude. Yo, so actually, quick side trivia here. Do you guys know who came up with the ba-da-ba-ba-ba? I'm loving it.
Is it Uncle Grimacy?
Is
that what you're going?
It was. No. It was actually a famous rapper that came up with it.
I'm trying to think that was it. I have no idea. I'm just gonna be
Good
guessing
guess.
rappers randomly at this point.
Oh, he's not
It
more
was-
of a singer.
It was Pusha T.
What? Pusha
Dude,
T wrote that
okay.
song.
Not
Are
the rapper I
ready
thought
for
you
this?
would have.
Are you ready for this? Pusha T wrote that song and then he sold it to them outright with no royalties, right? So he got paid, but he could have made a ton.
Yo, Push
So-
is dumb, bro.
So listen.
What you doing, Push?
So listen. So then later, Pusha writes this, has this other beat that he makes, dude, and he sells it to another fast food joint, and they use it as their thing. But this time he gets the royalties. So this one he's getting paid a ton off of. Guess which one?
Damn.
Another one Pusha came up with. He came up with that one for Arby's. That's like bum 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 bum. Yes, bum 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 bum. We got the meats, dude. That's also Pusha T. Pusha T is a advertising genius,
low key jingle ghostwriter.
as everyone expected, dude. This guy that
Dude,
only
what?
raps about cocaine is
Yeah, just
also
straight selling drugs.
just also rapping about like French fries, dude.
And roast beef.
And
He
roast
loves a
beef.
good. He loves a good
Drugs
beef melt.
and Beef.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Pusha T, dude. Genius. He got all that. He got all that roast beef money, dude. He doesn't even. He can get out the game, dude.
Don't say he got all that roast beef money.
Beef money.
Hey,
Roast-
he got
roast-
all that roast beef.
Roast beef
money.
and blow, dude. What's up? That's gonna be the next album, dude.
That's gonna be the theme of my bachelor party one day. Is gonna be roast beef and
Big
blow.
Montana.
That's-
Pusha T.
The boys are back in town.
You show up at the house and there's just beef everywhere, like on the counter, slices of roast beef, just like all over the place. And
Places
curly
you can't
fries
even
on.
imagine.
You got a swimming pool full of Arby's curly fries, like just sitting in the backyard.
Oh,
I mean, with
That's
that royalty, that's probably in Push's contract, dude. To every party he has is catered just like that, dude. Curly fry pool, like a slide, like a honey mustard slide into a curly fry pool.
Oh,
that's ridiculous.
sounds like a good Wednesday. Coop, I did want to let you know you broke down that poll just about perfectly. The Patriots did win it at 39%, so they were the top choice picked. Vikings second at 32, and then other was selected way more often than Buccaneers. So maybe you were right there with the Cowboys. Maybe belonged in that poll with people
Probably a lot of
selecting that other
Cowboys in
option.
there, and pretty scary to have my brain on the same page as Twitter. That's actually, to me, that's actually a bad thing.
Who's your least favorite NFL team? Like the team that you dislike the most, that you just have negative feelings towards?
JL, you go first.
A team that I just have negative feelings for, like I can't necessarily justify it.
Mine's the Steelers. I like Mike Tomlin. I love Mike Tomlin. I hate the Steelers. That's my team.
For a while, it was the Bills for me because of what they did to Sammy Watkins. Now I feel like I just don't care.
The thing is, even as a Patriots fan, I find it difficult to dislike the Bills because their fans they truly are awesome. Like they donate to charity. Then when they come to our stadium, they're super nice, which is, kind of annoying because you want to hate them. And, they jump through tables. They show up at 3 a.m. in negative 50-degree weather to see the plane when they lose, and the Bills always lose. So, it's kind of hard to hate them. I think the team I historically have disliked the most is the Ravens, because that's been the one team that like comes into Gillette and beats us, dude. Historically they've been a real problem. But I also will always just not like the Jets. I will root for them to be bad.
What about you,
Cowboys? I think Cowboys.
Cowboys.
I'll always. I grew up watching fan, so it's basically just par for the course. Everybody
makes
hates the
sense.
Cowboys.
Makes sense. I get it.
Everybody's rival in the NFC East.
What's the team that no one can dislike? That the easiest to like, not just the easiest to like team, or just like a team that there's really no reason to hate them.
I mean, the Jets, I
well-
think, is one of them. It's just
But they're from New York. They're from New York, dude.
People hate
No,
the
they're from
Jets.
Jersey. They're from Jersey. Let's come on.
Even worse.
You just think of like any of the Jets fans we knew in college, and then that's how you can dislike the Jets. Know what I mean? Like that's how you can
I don't
dislike
know,
the
man.
Jets. Think about Keith. Like, you know Keith. Spend an
Oh,
hour
he-
with Keith, and you're
Oh.
not gonna like the Jets anymore. Know
That's
what
true.
I mean? Like,
Terrible, dude.
I'm
But
trying
I
to
wouldn't
think.
hate
Honestly,
them. I just feel bad for them. It's a pity.
Everyone
thing,
hates
not-
them.
Before
Everyone
how
has to be
Tua, before
It's 2
how-
a.m. Why
Oh
are
my
you still
God,
scrolling
oh,
through
man,
videos?
why would
You're
you
not
do
paying me over.
that?
No.
What?
Oh,
What?
Okay.
Where did
No more
that
being
come
mean
from?
to Keith. No more
Fire
being-
Keith.
Chief Keith, we love you. Please spare
That
us.
genuinely startled me because it just all of a sudden it was like a woman screaming on the screen. Just all of a sudden.
He goes, "Oh, Jets fans suck" in the chat. No, Jets fans are awesome. I love.
Yeah, Keith, you're
love the Jets.
proving our point. You are proving our point. You're
Yeah,
a Jets
that's
fan
true.
and you just did that. Like, yeah, now I like the Jets more after you just tortured me live on air.
Wake up, everyone. Good morning.
But I think
Wake up.
maybe the team was the Dolphins that people couldn't like, but now people are mad at how the Dolphins handled the Tua situation, right? Like there was, but outside of that, I don't know if there's a team that just nobody can hate.
Also, Tommy, dude, just picture like Mercury Morris and all those losers celebrating whenever a team loses and they keep their undefeated season. Like that is so corny. The Lions, it's hard to dislike the Lions,
That's true. That's true.
especially with the Hard Knocks and the Campbell, and they're a very likable team at this very moment, at this particular moment. And the dude,
Chargers.
Barry Sanders and Megatron. Chargers there's a bad taste in my mouth from the LaDainian Tomlinson days when he was like whining about the Patriots, dude. It's like, why don't you just play better? Why don't you just have special teams? Like, you know what I mean? Then maybe you win a game, dude. Or if Marlon McCree just, could hold on to the football after an interception, then maybe you'd win. So why don't you shut up, LT? Shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up. So
Tommy wants to know, it says corny, but have you ever gone undefeated, even in fantasy? The Dolphins are the one team to do it. And
1972.
again, Miss Langley, if you're listening, I still resent you to this day for not letting me write my 7th grade research paper
Miss
on
There
the
we go.
undefeated 1972 Miami
Freaking
Dolphins. She
Miss
told me it
Langley.
wasn't important enough to write my report on in the 7th
about?
grade. I said, excuse me, ma'am, they're the only team in NFL history to ever do it. She said I could write about Evil Knievel instead. That's more important than the 1972 Miami Dolphins. Can you believe
yeah,
that?
right, dude. She was just a hater, bro.
Just a hater. I had to write a
Hater.
research paper on Evil Knievel.
You should have wrote
because I
a
wasn't
research
on
paper
the-
on why your teacher was
Evil.
such a whiny hater. Boo-boo.
That would have been such a flex. Just
Right?
turn that in.
Whatever
Why
age you
you
were,
suck.
300 words on why my teacher's such a whiny hater boo-boo.
I never did that, but it did remind me of one time in college in a computer science class. I couldn't get my code to work, and I was just doing all these like. Sometimes when you can't get it to work to debug, I would like put test print statements in there to like if it prints this word on the screen, then I know my code at least got
Yeah,
to
mine's
that point,
always
right?
poop. Always poop every single time on
So-
all my code.
It was like 2 a.m. and I'm like panicking, or it's 11:58 because it's due at midnight, right? And I'm typing in all these things. And the most recent print statement I had put in there wrote boobies on the screen, one word. It was over like 800 lines of code. I panicked. I thought I was like done, and I was like, okay, I just have to submit it. Submitted it. Woke up the next morning. Was like, oh my god, I
He
didn't
left
take-
it in.
I submitted 800 lines of code, and all it did, the only thing it did, was print the word boobies on my professor's screen. Like he was going to run that code, and without a doubt, the only
It
thing that
didn't
was
do
going to
what it
happen.
was supposed to do.
No, all it did was write the word boobies on the screen, is what it did.
That's
and I-
so funny.
You know, you
I
thought that
emailed-
was hilarious.
I got an 80. I got an 80% on it.
You got an 80% in your code, dude. He shit his pants. He
probably-
lost it.
he
You
probably
sent him
thought that
into
was-
orbit,
So funny, dude.
Oh, like yeah, just
dude. He
running
was
these one
gasping
by
for
one
air in
by
his
one.
office alone.
Oh, that one was pretty bad. That one was pretty bad. You guys ready for the next poll?
Yeah.
We're playing poll perception. That's right.
That's
Dale, this poll's for you. Which quarterback are you starting your NFL franchise with? Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, or Herbert? What I want you to do is tell me the percentage of people that chose Mahomes in this. And this comes from the Twitter account Floor Slappers.
Ah, yes. Let's go with 17%.
17% selecting Patrick Mahomes, JL.
Yeah.
Coop, where you going? Do you think the real answer is over or under JL's guess of 17%?
Oh man, that's tough, bro. That's tough because fantasy football really skews things. The rushing upside of your franchise quarterback. Not that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, Josh Allen's probably going to win, even though I don't know if he is like that.
Craig is in timeout, is all I'm going to say. Craig, you are in timeout. Just check Twitter. Craig, you are fully in timeout for what you just posted on Twitter. Sorry for interrupting you, Coop, but check out Craig on Twitter. Roto Heat Craig, if you want to see why Craig is in timeout, at Roto Heat Craig.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that you get, and that was linked in the Grimace Discord. So I've actually already seen that.
Oops, like this is.
I've already seen that. That game out of that Discord.
I've seen that now. Now that's going to be in my likes. Okay, perfect.
Well, I'm waiting for the Hamburglar edition of that. Is what I'm waiting for.
What was the number?
Dale said 17% on the Patrick Mahomes side.
Dude, I want to say over. I want to say Mahomes is going to be like low 20s, and Lamar Jackson's going to be like wicked low, even though he's doing really well.
Wicked low.
Wicked low, brah. That's what you say. Jets fans are wicked cool. Please don't play that thumb video again, bro.
please don't show the thumb, Keith.
No
We'll behave.
So
just show
yes,
Grimace toys.
I
just
will
take that picture.
I want to queen bee this, but I know that's such a bad play that I'm going to say over.
Over from Coop. We got 17% from JL. Over from Coop. And man, that Grimace toy is stuck in my head. It's just not yet, not till I order one. Then it will be. But for right now, it's just stuck in my head. The actual percentage of people that chose Patrick Mahomes in this poll was 54%. 54% on the Patrick Mahomes side. He did win this poll. Josh Allen in second with 29.8%. Herbert in third with 10.5%. And Lamar Jackson in last, like you predicted.
What? Bro.
This poll was asked, and before you ask, this was on October 3rd, 2022. This poll is from October 3rd.
And the dude lives in Kansas City.
Yeah.
759 votes, and the dude lives in Chicago. And this podcast, this covers sports, wrestling, entertainment, NFL, fantasy football, NBA, MLB, WWE, AEW podcasts. So they got it all over there.
That's wild, dude.
I highly doubt this is how the masses feel. That would be shocking, considering everybody was out on Mahomes last year and how hyped people are on Allen and Herbert.
Crazy.
That is wild.
That is going to bring you to 17 points and leaving JL at 12. You're leaving him in the dust a little bit.
It's anyone's game once the pen and pad come out, my friends.
The pen and pad.
As long as you're within 10, it doesn't even matter. Also, Maria over here guessed 20 and then said, oops, I'm on a delay. That's okay.
I'm on a delay.
We only make fun of Jay when he does it because Jay comes in randomly and says things like, what's the deal with underpants? Like
hour and 15 behind.
Jay called me after that show and said, like, no one calls it underpants. That's a funny word. Am I in the minority here that I say underpants? Like, do you guys not say underpants?
I like to say whatever's funniest to me at the time when I'm talking to my fiance, dude.
Britches.
Yeah.
Lately I've been saying ungies with a G.
My ungies. My ungies.
What's funny?
Isn't that a great term for him?
That's pretty good.
Don't get your ungies in a while.
I was in my ungies.
My ungies.
Oh no, I pooped my ungies.
Yeah, pretty smart stuff. And I know Jay missed the beginning. He was asking for this. It's gotten a lot of screen time, but yes, I did acquire. I was sick yesterday, so I just sent my fiance out to acquire the Grimace toy for everyone. So yeah, pretty beautiful. I'm over here with my Grimace Lego set and my other Grimace related items.
Tommy's saying bloomers. Bloomers, that's a good name for them.
Bloomers.
I think it's funny. I think it's funny if you like call them like it's boxers. You're wearing boxers, but you call them your panties. Know what I mean? Like, okay, can you pass me my panties? But it's just like a pair of boxers that you left over there. Like,
have you ever encountered anyone who has said that to you?
No, just me saying it to other people, making them feel a little bit weird.
What kind of underpants do you picture when you hear bloomers? May bloomers.
I picture like
baggy.
like some Renaissance style fluffy, like it's
Yeah,
like
flume.
it's tightly cinched around the upper thigh and around the waist
but
with
but
like
plume
almost
everywhere
like a
else.
corset, yeah, and then it's poof with like pleats, like really
Bag
thick
of popcorn.
pleats all the way around, and it's
And
made of
there's-
like the scratchiest cotton you've ever worn is what I think of when I hear bloomers.
And there's a good amount of there's lace around the edges, a little bit.
A little bit
bit of
a little
lace.
bit of fringe.
Fringe, yeah. I would describe it as fringe, not lace. That's how I would describe it. Jay over here, I think he might be 5 minutes behind, but he's laughing about ungies right now. Ungies is Coop. Ungies is becoming a word in my vocabulary. You just added a new word: wagon, hog, ungies. This is the
You're
Front Yard
welcome.
Fantasy show.
Yes, where do you keep your hog and your ungies?
Dustin with the grimace
Smart.
getting in there, guys. Coming up, we're going to finish this game of pole perception, talk some trade targets, and then Kyle Elfrink is joining the show to talk some fantasy football. And then our friend Alex Korf, aka Peaked in High School, the trade daddy himself, is coming on to talk some Week 5 trades. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on the Better Sports Network.
It's sports talk done better.
Coop, we did have a question for you. Get into Game wants to ask if you could create an all tight end team. Like, who would be your top tight ends? Like your favorite guys that you would put on your all tight end team?
Or does he want me to do an all tight end team where I fill out all the positions? Because I could do that.
That could
too.
work as well. Yeah, you
All
want
right.
to do that?
So wide receiver 1, split end would be Kyle Pitts.
Checks out. I knew you were going to say Kyle Pitts.
Now on the other side, I would have Jimmy Graham.
Okay.
At the actual tight end slot, inline tight end, I'd have Rob Gronkowski.
Okay.
In the slot, I would have Tony Gonzalez, who under Chan Gailey for the Chiefs back in mid 2010s, he led the league in routes run from the slot. Now at quarterback, I would have Logan Thomas, a converted quarterback that now
checks
plays
out.
tight end. Right at running back, give me Jonnu Smith, a guy that has multiple rushing touchdowns. He could bring it up and down the field. At left tackle, give me Michael Pruitt, one of the premier blocking tight ends in the league. At right tackle, give me Nick Boyle.
Are you
Another
you've
excellent
done this
blocking
all off
tight
the
end.
top of your head?
Of course. At
I'm
guard,
so impressed.
like we're gonna fill out the
Smart.
line with the best blocking tight ends that I can think of. So I actually at center, give me a guy that's been a captain on a team because you need a strong, smart player at center. Give me
You need leadership.
Mercedes Lewis, a guy that's been in the league for a long time, one of the premier blockers. At guard, you're gonna want a little speed, a little heft. So I'll take a current guy, Albert Akwe Boone. I'll put him 6'6", 260. Put him at left guard. Have him do some swing routes. Have him run around. At right guard, I'll take. Give me Jason Witten. Just give me a big monster to throw in.
Get
there
him
that
out
can
of the
actually
booth.
Throw down the run blocking. And
Can we put this in like a graphic?
as my fullback move tight end, I'm going to go with a guy that's played a bunch of fullback. He's played a bunch of move tight end. Very underrated. Give me Chris Cooley, former Redskins tight end, move tight end, Chris Cooley. So that would be my all-time tight end offense. If you need
Now
it.
radio personality
I
in the
am
DMB.
I am so impressed. Not just like you didn't just pull out those names and you didn't stop after the positional guys. You said we're talking O-line here too, because that's an important part of the offense. Coop, I could not put together a better all tight end team right now.
Now put
I
it
can
full
promise
depth
you that.
chart together.
You'd be insane to do it.
Punter,
I feel like
Coop.
I feel like a maniac just having done that. But we
Who's
do
the
tight
punter
ends.
and who's kicking field goals?
Punter easily is going to be Algie Crumpler, because right off the top
Best
of my
name
head,
I've ever heard.
kind of sounds like punter. Seems like he could boot the ball.
Crumpler the punter.
Algie
Crumpler,
Crumpler.
punter, and then for kicker, we just want to have as many all-time greats on the roster. So give me Antonio Gates.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We got a game of poll perception going on that we need to finish. Coop is currently in the lead, 17-12. Everybody watching, this is your reminder. If you want to come on the show, if you want to hang out with us, if you want to play some poll perception, or if you've got a hot take or a question for us, get on that Better Sports Network app, download it, register, and then hit the call in button. And you can come right up here on the show with us. Let us know your thoughts, play a couple games with us, and just come hang out. You can come up here and compliment JL. Tell him how cute he is.
Please.
Jump in now. JL needs your help.
Call now.
Oh, please. JL's like, please call.
Please.
Hal.
Guys, say
Hal?
something nice. Someone
Tommy?
say something nice about me.
If you don't want, I forget what I was going to say. That you guys, I was trying to go the
If you
NPR.
don't want.
If you don't want, I was trying to go the NPR pledge drive route, where like all of a sudden you're like you listen to NPR every day, and then for like 2 weeks you like can't listen to anything without them being like, your public radio station needs your help to continue. If you want programming like This American Life to continue, we need your help. It's donations from listeners like you that keep this station running. Please call now for your free tote and coffee mug with a donation of $300.
That's pretty strong, dude. That's like us, except for we don't give anything back, and we only ask for fun button to smash it.
You guys ever heard the story where Robert Plant was listening to NPR and they had if you call and donate, we promise we'll never play Stairway to Heaven ever again. And so he called them and immediately donated and said the person on the line, like he said his name and the guy had no clue who he was, like absolutely no clue. And the guy's like, yep, Robert Plant, and then gave his donation. And they had him on later. He's like, I only donated because they said they would never play Stairway to Heaven again. And then they said that and then played it. And while they were playing it, he called in. Tommy here saying Sir Robert Plant. Yeah, Sir Robert Plant. That'd be a good one. You guys ready for the next poll?
Oh, yeah.
I think I'm ready.
Coop, this poll comes to you from Wayne Breezy. Wayne Breezy, and that is Breezy spelled with an I-E. Which tight end has the best game? What's the question? That's all that's in the question. Side A is Kittle. Side B is Higbee.
And what was the wording? Which tight end is what?
Which tight end has the best game?
This is prior to the Monday night game. They were talking about who is going to have the best game in Monday Night Football.
I am pulling up the date on this poll right now, but I believe
they played head-to-head in Monday Night Football. So I imagine that's what he pulled.
That is exactly what happened. And for full context, this account's banner photo is of the San Francisco 49ers. Just to give you all the context information.
Spicy. That's a spicy meatball. Well, as we know, Tyler Higbee had the better game, even though Tyler Higbee is not that good, and he's also racist. But before the game, no one would have known that was going to happen. So I'm going to go with Kittle. Would have been voted. Even if it was a neutral poll, I would have said Kittle. But you got to add an extra 7.83 points to the poll because of the 49ers banner. So adding that in my head, I'm going to go with 80. Carry the 3. I'm going to go with 83% of people said that George Kittle would have the better football game.
Coop going with 83%. JL, do you think the actual percentage of people that chose Kittle in this poll before the Monday night game was over or under Coop's guess of 83%?
Didn't leave me much room on the top there, Coop.
Right,
so I'm going to take the under.
Hamstring ya. Hamstrung ya.
Hamstring.
I done hamstringed you.
Ha
Throw a Will Smith ha-ha on there. Ha-ha.
JL hasn't spoken in his own voice in 12 minutes. Like it's just other people's voices over and over. Well,
I do declare.
It's going to be the under. Ha ha.
I done hamstringed you.
Okay.
Would you rather only be able to speak in recognizable movie quotes, or I don't have another option? But think about how wild that would be.
Mix that into the hypotheticals, dude. It's actually not far off from how I talk to my friends at home.
Yeah, I feel like if you get like too many guys in a room, all of a sudden it just becomes like movie quotes. Like that's all that happens. Is like slowly
every single group of
guys. It
guys.
was basically my entire bachelor party.
My favorite male.
It was like watching Talladega Nights.
My favorite male stereotype that someone pointed out to me once that I've never been able to like get past is that like dudes love to read things that they're passing in the car. Like if you pass a billboard that says like, call me, you're a bald lawyer, or like McDonald's 2 miles. Like,
dude, what the heck else are we
dude,
supposed to talk
that's
about?
so funny because, bro, my buddy my buddy mentioned that that's like the one thing on my match party mentioned that's the one thing that my fiance hates about him, and he was doing that drunk like on one Saturday, and then on Sunday we were driving around, and my other buddy was like, oh, it's right over there, and we're like, how'd you know that? And he goes, because Gilday read every sign from here to Scottsdale the other day.
Props to him for remembering.
That's awesome.
He's like, yeah, it's right over there by that sign that said free weed.
He's really
Fridays.
listening.
Yeah, now you're
I would have tuned your ass out.
He was listening. Yeah, he's like, it's right over by Meineke Auto Parts by the two lawyer signs. Gilday read them all yesterday.
I would have done a polite chuckle and then looked at my phone for the next 45 minutes.
Yeah, no, that is exactly how it went down. So it's funny you mentioned that because that's exactly true.
It's my favorite one because it's so like small, but it's so accurate.
Fact.
The question was, which tight end has the best game? This was asked pre-Monday Night Football. Came from Wayne Breezy, 49ers fan. The options were Kittle or Higbee. Oop guessed 83%. JL took the under, and the actual percentage of people that said Kittle would have the better game was 81%. Coop, only
Dude,
2 percentage points off again. You are on fire. Going to give you another 5 points. And
Did somebody check Coop for PEDs?
Got to check that. Oh, the coalition of Andrews will not have it, dude. We're already under so much stress
every day, every morning.
Under a lot of stress this week. Yeah, for sure, dude. That's why we know Andrew Metcalf is clean. He deserves every single one of those points.
you know what? There was not this outrage whenever I skimmed points off of Nate's game. This has happened twice recently. Oh, I just publicly admitted that I did it. That was
The rest of the rest of the Nathans of the world need to step up on his behalf. We do not represent the Nathans, nor do we have any part in that.
I'm going to just I'm going to sing like 30 seconds of an Ariana Grande song just so that this gets taken off the internet. And then there will be no evidence against me going forward. So at some point I'm just going to break out into thank you next for like 30 seconds and we'll be good to go.
Good, dude.
Coop.
I don't know. I couldn't have named one Ariana Grande song. Does she have is she the Rings? Is that her song?
I don't know. I'm not the world's largest Ariana Grande fan. I will say though, she converted me to someone who liked her when she was a coach on The Voice. She was so pleasant. She was just like a music nerd. Like I love when people are passionate about things. Like she truly is like a music production nerd. Like that's her jam. And it was fun to watch her on there. Dustin said punishment is 1 minute with no hat on stream. No.
Horror.
But I thank
Horror.
I thank you for your suggestion.
And out of all the days too, because a little to pull back the curtain a little bit, before the show, Simon was complaining that he was having a bad hair day. So even a better day to throw down the no hat punishment.
Oh God, it would not look good. It would not look good. Coop, you've got a lead after that poll, 22-14 against JL. But Joe, you got time to come back. You got one more poll, and then we've got our final poll here. You're still in this game. You ready for your last poll, JL?
Yep.
How many games will the Steelers win in their next 4? Bills, Bucks, Dolphins, Eagles. So they give you the next 4. 1, 2, 3, or 4. What percentage of people chose 1? Also, just for full context, it says 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the final choice says Pickett is a god. Is what it says on 4.
Is this a write down poll?
No, the next one is the write down poll.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just writing it down because I have a terrible memory. It's Buffalo. What were the next 3?
Oh, Buffalo, Bucks, Dolphins, and Eagles were the 4 teams that they're playing.
Is this a Steelers account?
I am pulling it up right now. This is a Steelers account, just so you know. It is the co-founder of YinzerCrazy.com and host of Steelers Chris Wormley and Friends show at Sick Pod Steelers. So this is very much so a Steelers account. Probably why there's no 0 option for how many games they're going to win.
Yeah, so it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, right?
1, 2, 3, 4. Pickett is a god.
There's 4 is okay. 4 has that extra thing.
Yeah, 4 has that extra little piece on.
All right. Well, like realistically, it's probably 1. Like is the most likely. I mean, most likely option 0 here, but this is not an option 1. But how delusional are Pittsburgh fans? This is what it's coming down to.
Holy.
I'm gonna go with 28%.
28%.
Yeah.
Final answer.
Yep.
There we go. Coop, are you going with over or under Jail's guess of 28%?
You have to factor in the Twitter will pick whatever's funniest as the answer. So feel like Kenny Pickett as a god is probably going to win this poll, right? But one probably any reasonable person is asking why 0 isn't an option either, right? This is such a homer question. The answer is probably 0, right? So I'm going just to protect myself. I'm going to Queen Bee JL's guess.
Coop Queen Bee, and to protect himself in case JL gets it exactly right. Tommy said 10% and then said Barry. They're Barry delusional, JL, is what Tommy's saying.
Barry.
How delusional are they? Very delusional.
Blueberries.
I feel like my mind today is just like commercials playing over and over again, like for my whole life. Because do you remember the Skittles? Berries and cream, berries and cream.
Dude,
berries and cream.
That's such a bad commercial, but also such a great one.
It's like they took Little Sweet from Dr. Pepper and made him like terrifying, like put him in a horror movie instead. Well, the actual percentage of people that chose 1 in this poll was 38%. It was the option with the most votes. JL, you're within 10 though, so you're going to get 3 points, bringing you up to 17%. And that is within 5 of Coop. So if you win this last poll, you will be tied. Coop, you get nothing because you Queen Bee'd that, and it was not a Queen Bee.
Defensive play.
Defense
Defense wins championships.
Prevent defense.
Defense wins.
Ben, don't break.
Defense. Yeah, that's right.
Ben, don't
Ben
break.
DiNucci.
Ben DiNucci.
I bet DiNucci'd him. Aha.
I got DiNucci.
So I just start mixing random Will Smith ha-has in the show. I think we really should. Ha-ha. I don't like it.
Here's your final poll. You guys will be writing down your answer for this one. So whoever gets this correct will be our winner if it's Coop, or our tire if it's JL. I guess both of you guys will be tires if it's JL.
I'm using the fountain pen because Simon's hosting.
That's fair. That's fair.
Let the record show.
Here is your last poll coming to you from John Hansen. Who will be considered the better pro in 2 years? Side A, Trevor Lawrence. Side B, Kenny Pickett. What percentage of people chose Trevor Lawrence in this poll? Again, the poll is who will be considered the better pro in 2 years, and this comes to you from John Hansen.
Side A is Trevor Lawrence.
Side A is Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, you're guessing the Trevor Lawrence side. Also, Dustin in here saying Little Sweet is the best thing to ever happen in commercials. It's a pretty good commercial. I don't mind Little Sweet. But it's not my favorite commercial of all time. What is my favorite
best thing?
commercial?
Is pretty strong.
Best thing?
My best series of commercials was the Terry Tate office line.
What's that?
No.
Sorry, go ahead, Coop.
Is it time to bring that back yet, dude?
I think I think we just decided it is.
I don't think it is time.
Jail, that was gone from my that was gone from my memory until you said that, and then it just came rushing back in, like full force, like it never left.
The next day after that was like super. No, I can't remember if it was Super Bowl or not, but I just remember going into school and that just be that all anyone could talk
Those
about.
poor teachers. Yeah. I worked at a summer camp when that Hump Day commercial came out with the camel walking. And God, and I had a class of
Geico's the worst about commercials.
God, I will stamp the Geico Gecko is the worst mascot of all, because how the hell do you make a lizard mascot that talks so freaking boring? He's so boring. There's nothing interesting about him. He's just a lizard. He's like, oh, let me
super passive, just going through life. Just if you're that's his whole personality is,
How do we make insurance? How do we make insurance less exciting? Have a boring British lizard
is more interesting, and it only says Aflac. Like it has one word that it says, and it has more personality than that lizard.
At least it has a shtick.
The best insurance commercials are that dude, the Mayhem dude from 30 Rock.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That is one of the better ones for sure.
The Beeper King.
Getting pretty sick of the John Hamm ones. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah,
the progressive ones.
My great uncle Bernie, before he passed, he loved Flo in the Progressive commercials, like was a huge Flo fan. And we had an aunt that worked at Progressive and was able to get a cardboard cutout autographed of Flo that we like set up in the living room. He just thought she was so pleasant.
Down on that.
Like, no, he thought she was so pleasant. It was harmless. It was just
she is great.
It was like she's just so kind and nice and funny, and those commercials are great.
I love John Hamm. Those commercials are a little too much.
Too far. Also,
John Hamm's hilarious though, dude.
Dude, he was great on the Manning cast. If you didn't watch,
You should see him on Comedy Bang Bang, dude. He's great.
John Hamm. I downloaded a Comedy Bang Bang the other day, Coop. Haven't listened to it yet, but I was looking for a new podcast, and I remembered you saying that out loud, and I was like, if Coop likes it, it's probably at least a little cool.
It's definitely stupid, and it's the kind of stupid we like. You know what I mean?
Perfect.
It's all just check out some of the best ofs to get started. Maybe go and
Perfect.
look at like best of 2000. I think the best ofs on there for free.
he said I might be able to get Mayhem on.
Yeah, I get Mayhem, and if you can only get
All right.
one of Chad Johnson or Mayhem, I think you know which one we need.
I hope it's Ochocinco.
It's Mayhem. It's Mayhem.
On the football show. Yeah, and Keith said, mayhem it is. Mayhem it is.
Mayhem it is.
That would be awesome. Guys, let's see our answers for this final poll. JL with 58% and Coop with 80%. Well, the correct answer, the percentage of people that chose Trevor Lawrence in this poll over Kenny Pickett was 82%.
God, I am the
2
winner.
percentage
Dude, you
points
are
away
freaking
on
cheater,
every
bro.
Today,
poll.
What is wrong? You're cheating. There's no
That's
doubt in
right.
my mind.
I went to. I forgot to tell you also in the chest at Grimace Island, buried under all those Park Place tickets was all the answers to poll perception. For
Oh
all time.
yeah, for today.
Yeah.
Yes.
I did.
Coop.
Oh, no. That
What?
is- I think that was my Twitter logo on a piece of bread stapled
Stapled
to
to a tree.
I don't know where did the Coop thing come off that off.
Someone pays Keith money to make that. What you just saw.
Tommy made
Someone
it. It's
actually
like-
paid him to
That
do
is Tommy. That is fire. That was incredible. I didn't.
Oh my god.
Oh man, we
Is
gotta
that
get some more-
Nando? That's terrifying.
Yeah, dude. Not no. Is that does he do that promo where at the end he goes Coop?
I think. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like Nando.
And they were like, "That's the one. That's the take."
Whew. Tommy did have a question for us. He wanted to know what the best mascot ever is. The best mascot ever. This is tough. There's some
This is
really,
tough.
really good
It's gotta
ones.
be. It's gotta be Benny the Bull, though. I think Benny the Bull is from the. Oh, we talking about
like company
sports
mascots, I think.
Oh, I thought we were talking about sports mascots.
we
I
were
was gonna say
talking
Ben-
like
Benny
the
the Bull
Geico
is-
Gecko, the Aflac Duck.
Oh yeah. Okay, well that's a totally different game.
Hmm.
Benny the Bull. While you guys think, I will say Benny the Bull, amazing mascot, dude, because he also has the inflate. Not only does he like do all these crazy flips and stuff, but he also has the inflatable bull costume, and he just runs around making a scene with, and it's like gigantic too, which is hilarious.
The NC State, when I was watching the Clemson NC State game, the NC State like girl wolf mascot that they have is the best. It's just their normal mascot with a bow and lipstick and a skirt on. So like they just have like the big bad wolf on the sideline wearing like a skirt with lipstick and a bow, and I love every single thing about it. I think the best mascot has to be the Kool-Aid Man. Like I know it's one of the generic ones, but like the Kool-Aid Man is so iconic, and he just jumps into rooms and goes, "Oh yeah!" Like that's funny. Like that's just completely funny.
My
It's gotta
favorite
be the UGA Bulldog, right? Like actual
Yeah.
live. It's just actual dog.
live. Cute
That's awesome.
dog.
I'm gonna
I think
argue
it's hard.
against
It's hard to beat
because
that.
It's in Georgia in the summer where they bring a bulldog who struggles to breathe and struggles with staying cool onto a football field in 90-degree weather every single Saturday. Like,
Okay, I
don't
get that.
know,
Yeah.
man.
That's
I
kinda
wasn't
weird.
necessarily commenting on the treatment of the mascot, more so
You're
just
right.
the mascot itself. But
You're
yeah,
right. Uga's cool as
Yeah.
shit. Uga's
Yeah,
so cool.
hopefully they're not exploiting that dog.
My favorite mascot story of all time. We were at who is the college team? Oh, Wichita State. They have like a big like corn dude as their mascot.
The Shockers.
Yeah. So we're at the NCAA
Shuckers.
tournament, and it's me and my buddies, and we're sitting behind this like super old couple, dude. And we're watching like the halftime show of a Wichita State thing, and it's like all the cheerleaders, like all the hot cheerleaders, and then the corn guy is out there like doing crazy stuff, like going all over the place. And the old lady turns to the dude, to her husband, and she was like, "Wow, look at that corn guy." And he goes, "What corn guy?" And she just smacks him so hard, dude, because he's watching all the hot cheerleaders. No, like the corn guy was like in the middle, and you couldn't see anything. Like, but then he's just like, "What corn guy?"
What corn guy?
That's
Great dad
funny.
joke.
That's
Solid
pretty.
dad joke.
That's a solid dad joke right there. We could talk mascots all day over here, but we got some questions in the chat that I wanted to answer. We had one in here. I believe this one was from Brendan. He said, should I start Jacoby Myers, Robert Woods, or Romeo Dobbs in his flex this week? So Jacoby Myers, if he's back, Robert Woods, or Romeo Dobbs in the flex. Coop, which of those three would you be starting?
Did he say whether it's PPR? Please,
He did not
if you guys could tell us PPR half or full, because not every player is affected by that. Like some guys, there's no effect to Justin Jefferson, whether it's PPR or not. But for a guy like Jacoby Myers, there is, right? Because he is just historically not scored a lot of touchdowns, low ADOT guy, pretty target dependent player.
Maybe
right?
assume half PPR just to get.
If we assume half PPR, so it was Myers, Dobbs, and who?
And Woods, Robert Woods. So Dobbs has he's playing against the Giants. Jacoby Myers is playing against the Detroit Lions. And Robert Woods is playing against the Washington Commanders this week. I think it's Romeo Dobbs for me against the Giants.
If it's half PPR, it's definitely Dobbs. And probably in any format, honestly. It's pretty clear at this point that him and Lazard are playing virtually every snap. They're the two guys out there for every play, and then the other guys are mixing in. So yeah, give me Dobbs. Can't go away from him.
Can't go away from him. I'm with you guys. It's Dobbs for me as well. We had another question in here. Should I trade Pitts and Jacoby Myers for Logan Thomas, Terry McLaurin, or Michael Thomas? It's a 2 tight end league, and I have Higbee and Waller as my other tight ends, need wide receiver. So Pitts and Jacoby Myers for Logan Thomas and McLaurin or Michael Thomas. Logan Thomas would likely go on the bench behind Higbee and Waller. Jail, what do you think on this one?
What do I think on this one? Pitts and Jacoby Myers for Logan Thomas and McLaurin.
Or Michael Thomas.
I mean,
it's pretty.
It's an ugly trade. Just it kind of sucks because it feels like we're just admitting defeat on Kyle Pitts, which we are to some degree. Like he's not going to be what we thought, but at the same time,
I don't like. I don't mind it.
I don't know. No, you're good. I don't mind this trade. It's going to depend on your team, on whether I think this is a smart strategic play for you. Just in a vacuum, I think it's fine.
Yeah. Now the thing is, like, so you do the trade, you get Logan Thomas. Next week, so after this week, Waller has his bye, so you start Logan Thomas. Then the week after that, week 7, Higbee has his bye, so you start Logan Thomas. So if you trust Waller and Higbee, you can realistically start them from week 8 through the end of the season. You might not even need Logan Thomas, right? So I actually kind of like the way that the trade is set up because, again, Jacoby Myers, as much as I love him, he moves the chains, but there's not a lot of leagues that give you points for first downs. And he's just not a red zone threat. He's not super fast, right? So he's just like a possession slot receiver. So I'm down for the trade. I'd say I'd do it and go for McLaurin or MT.
I think I would just hold. Personally, I would just hold Pitts. I don't think that you get much more with Logan Thomas and.
I mean, you're gonna. The other thing is that like you're gonna start Pitts week 6 and 7 if you keep him. So you probably feel a little better about that than Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas's target share. I mean, his routes run per dropback has been slowly creeping up. 50%, 62, 63, now up to 70%. Could go. We've seen it go as high as 100%. So just keep that in the back of your noggin.
We had another question in here from Cass. I wanted to know, who should I pick up on waivers? Devin Duvernay, Rashad White, or Julio Jones? Coop, which of those players would you be picking up on waivers? Let's assume you're not exceptionally weak at any position. It's just you want best player available. Who are you going with?
Way to steal my cop-out answer. If I was just going for anybody, I would go for Rashad White. Love to see how they ramped him up a little bit. He got the red zone carry in the third quarter. He caught 5 of 5 targets. Kind of love to see that, dude. Leonard Fournette asked for a break. He got a little break. So Rashad White could be ramped up. And at the end of the day, running backs are more valuable than Mark.
Yeah, you can't really trust Julio Jones. He hasn't done anything, and I feel like he's just keeps getting injured. That's probably just going to keep happening for how old he is. Devin Duvernay, I don't know what to say about Devin Duvernay anymore. he just keeps making it happen. So I still think that it's less of an upside play for if you want to go Duvernay over Rachaad White. Rachaad White I see is more of an upside play. Positional scarcity is important here, like Coop said.
Duvernay I view as like a 1 week Hail Mary. Like if you've got an empty spot on your roster and you just need to throw somebody in there who could score a touchdown, Duvernay's the kind of guy that you put in your lineup. Like it's not going to be consistent. If he doesn't get the touchdown, you're sad, but I'm not picking him up to like hope that he becomes some stalwart on my fantasy team. I'm with you guys. It's Rachaad White. One more question in here from Bryce. Bryce wanted to know, I should trade Ayuk and Penny for Kamara, right? Should he trade Brandon Ayuk and Rashad Penny for Alvin Kamara?
I think that's a fair trade. I wouldn't do it though. I would just keep Rashad Penny and keep getting what you're getting out of him.
I'll tell you, man, I am scared. I'm scared that that if they don't start winning games soon, they're going to let that court date hit in early November, and then Kamara's going to be suspended for the end of the season. If you're an NFL team, man, that would be such a strategic move, and there's nothing stopping them from doing that. You know?
Yeah.
And the NFL, as much as they like to punish these guys or do whatever, like they're on the side of providing the best product. So if they can get away with suspending Kamara for the last 5 games and then giving him 1 game at the start of next year, they're going to jump on that.
Absolutely. Guys, coming up, we're going to keep on answering some of your questions, and we're about to talk trade targets, some players that maybe you should be targeting in trades at this point in the season. Then our friend Kyle Elfrink is coming on the show a little bit later as well. And after that, we've got our friend Alex Korf, a.k.a. Peaked in High School, the trade daddy of all trade daddies, coming on to talk some trade values for week 5. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Better Sports Network.
We got to get a team in Honolulu. What about that, Ray? You think Oakland? Nobody's talking about Honolulu for the Oakland A's to move to. How badass would that be to have a Major League Baseball team? Instead, they want to go to where it's 120 degrees in the desert of Vegas.
Right.
Ray, they should pick up and go to Honolulu. That would be epic right there for the A's.
They could go to Honolulu, and instead of playing 12 games against a team throughout the course of the year, you just play a 12-game set. Just get it done.
What's the flight from the Bay Area? 4 hours?
It's depending which direction you're going, it's 5.5.
Okay, that's not terrible. You'd have to manage the schedule a bit.
Right.
But it's doable. You play your West Coast games, and then maybe you give an extra day. You play in San Francisco through Sunday. Mm-hmm. And then you have your Monday off. Everybody gets their Monday off, and then they play, out in Hawaii for 4 games. And they come back for the weekend.
It's very similar time-wise for us in California, in the Bay Area, to go to Hawaii as it is to go to New York. It's very similar. So, yeah, like you're saying, Giants do that to go to the Mets. The A's do that to go to the Yankees. They do it, so it would be very similar.
They would be they've already got the baseball background. I mean, they're dominant. The island loves their baseball. And Ray, you could even rebrand the team from the Oakland A's to the Oakland Lays. You can do the Lays, Ray. Look at that.
Good. That's actually, there's no way that would ever happen, but that's pretty good, Kyle. On the fly.
I'm giving away free marketing right here.
Good work.
Right on the show.
The plan is for them to stay here, but the fans hate them. I don't know if the city likes them. They can't. I mean, it's embarrassing. I don't know. The plan
There's a lot of land in Hawaii. Just think about the views, Ray, of the Pacific. It would put your crap ballpark in San Francisco to shame. Everybody thinks that's a good view.
Right.
They'd have waterfalls and real palm trees and the Pacific Ocean.
People trolling fire in the 7th inning stretch.
Make the Giants Park look like, the vet in Philly. It would look that awful if they moved to Hawaii.
And you go to your flip-flops or shorts. They serve Mai Tais. They give Lays away. Or the first 5,000 fans, whatever.
Well, everybody in the chat room loves it. Every time I get a compliment, I don't bring it up on the show.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I don't want to be that guy.
Call, chat, enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We are getting into some trade targets. It is week 5 now. Week 4 is in the books. It's time to maybe you're staring at an 0-4 team or 1-4. You're 4-0. Want to start shoring up for the playoffs. This is the time. You should be sending out trade offers, and we got some players for you that we think maybe this is a good place to start. JL, you wanna kick us off with a player that you think should be a trade target at this point in the season?
Sure, I can absolutely kick us off. So the first player I wanted to bring up was the man, Allen Lazard, wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers. He's got one of the easiest strength of schedules coming up for wide receivers, and he's been used on the deep pass. Aaron Rodgers has been thrown to him. He's got a 14.1 average depth of target, which is 9th amongst all wide receivers. Allen Lazard, I think, could be a sneaky trade target at this point in the season. Kind of had not a slower start, but he didn't play week 1. In the last few weeks, he's played pretty decently, but not enough to really get people talking.
No, I'm with you, JL. I'm 100% on board because I don't think there's any way his value goes down from this point out, right? Like, it is clear, like Coop said, him and Dobbs are the guys in that offense. They're the receivers that are going to get the work. And it's Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball. Now, I would temper your expectations for upside. I don't think we're getting a top 12 season from Allen Lazard. I just don't think that's the kind of player he is. I think we'll probably get 700 to 900 yards and close to double-digit touchdowns, which will be a great season from him, right? You'll be thrilled. But people aren't valuing him even at that level yet. We're probably talking a high-end wide receiver 2 that you can trade for right now for way less than wide receiver 2 prices.
Yeah, I think there's room to go up in terms of his usage too. I mean, seeing an 18.7% target share, which is according to Player Profiler, 45th amongst all wide receivers. Not a ton of red zone targets. He's not a ton of routes around. I think part of that is probably he missed time, but man, I think there's a ton of opportunity, room to go up.
I love that, man, because everyone's focusing on Romeo Doubs, right? And then you sneak in and get the guy who's playing just as many snaps, just as likely to get targets. And that's the kind of guys I look for. So I'm looking for highly consolidated target shares and give me the lesser of the two guys, right? People that drafted T. Higgins. Exactly. People that drafted T. Higgins, dude, they're laughing to the bank right now, right?
I'm laughing
yes,
to the bank so hard.
Every league.
Tyler Lockett, right? Tyler Lockett's playing well. So you can't go after those guys. So a guy that I would go after in a similar vein, similar thought process to that, is Adam Thielen, right? So you look at that guy, he's playing 96% of the snaps this year. He has the 4th highest snap share of any wide receiver. He's got a 20% target share, which is all you can really ask for in this world, right? That the guy gets at least a 5th of the targets, potentially a 4th in certain games.
That's amazing for tight ends.
But yeah, Adam Thielen, one of the best tight ends in the league. I mean, he kind of is, though. You know what I mean? His
I don't
stats
even know.
are tight end-ish. But 7, 8, 9 targets the last 3 games. This is a guy that we know scored legit 24 targets or 24 touchdowns over his last 28 games. So for me, especially if it's a 3 wide receiver league, I'm sneaking in and seeing if I can get Thielen thrown into a deal or grab him for cheap, because he's a guy you can put in your lineup every week and you see that name there and you feel pretty good about it because he's got he's got a decent target floor. He's always going to get minimum 4 or 5. And like I said, last 3 weeks, 7, 8, and 9. And he's a coin flip threat to score every week. In recent years, even higher than a coin flip, right? This guy finished as wide receiver 10 in 2020. And before he got hurt last year, he was wide receiver 7. And now if you go and look at his targets, I mean, you sprinkle a couple of touchdowns on there, and this guy would be a lot higher in the standings. So I'd grab him before those touchdowns start coming because I'm sure he will have some.
Yeah, I mean, and same for Lazard. I think those touchdowns are coming for him. These are touchdown guys that we're talking right here. Allen Lazard, whenever you were talking, the guy who's more likely to do this, more likely to do that, The other thing is more likely to be targeted in the red zone. Like I know, JL, you mentioned he doesn't have those red zone targets, but he's 6'5", 227 pounds. Like that's who they want to throw to down there. Like he's a big bodied man down there. I expect those to come for Allen Lazard as well. Tommy in the chat going, Thielen is sneaky good. So Tommy's a fan of Thielen as well. Coop, what do you think you would have to trade right now to acquire an Adam Thielen? Like in a redraft league? Let's say you're looking at running back for wide receiver. What kind of running back are you moving to get Adam Thielen? Tony Pollard, AJ Dillon?
Let me just
lower.
Pull up the trade.
While you're doing that, Adam Thielen is ranked number 9 according to Player Profiler in red zone targets. He's got 6 on the season.
Right, like
touchdown Thielen.
He hasn't been converting them, but he will. Like they like him in that area. They got some routes. They have a connection there. There's something to be said for that, you know. Like Aaron Rodgers had that with Jordy Nelson, with James Jones. You see it with Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews. Like when you have some tricks in your bag, you just keep going to that guy in that situation. So, especially if Dalvin Cook's going to be bagged up, could be pretty spicy. And I mean, if you look at Adam Thielen on the trade chart, he's down there pretty far, like tier 9. So we're talking the guys in that range are like Darrell Henderson, Michael Carter, Tyler Algier, Raheem Hines, Raheem Mostert. I would trade any one of those guys for Thielen. So, you know, the way you get a guy like Thielen is look, if you could have one of your leagues, and if Thielen's a guy that's like on the bench for somebody, which in a lot of leagues he is, that's where I'm comfortable doing a 2-for-1, where I give up a guy for Thielen, one of my guys for Thielen plus another guy, and then put them both in my lineup. Right?
Yeah, those are generally the kind of trades that I like making as well. We've got a super chat in here from Lucius. Lucius, my man, thank you so much. And he's got a question for us. He says, have had an 0-4 team trying to trade me Kamara all morning. Does Kamara really have running back 1 value at this point? Like, does he have a value of a top 12 running back?
We can tell you that because I have Alex's Peaked in High School's trade value charts pulled up. We're talking about Kamara, right?
We are talking about Kamara.
Kamara is tier 3. He's tier 3 according to Alex's trade value charts, with 42 value points, I guess, is the metric there. He's right below DeAndre Swift and Najee Harris, who have 43 and 44 respectively, and right above Clyde Edwards-Helaire and James Robinson, who have 37 and 36 respectively. So Alvin Kamara is sandwiched in between those.
And he is the 13th running back on that list. So the technical answer to this question based on this trade chart is no, he doesn't. But he's right there. He's sniffing it. He's sniffing it on the outside, Jail, if he's there with Najee Harris and DeAndre Swift.
He's absolutely those crop dust farts from those guys.
I think maybe he does still hold. I almost skipped right over that one.
Makes me not want to have him on my team then.
Whose farts would you rather sniff, Najee Harris or DeAndre Swift?
Next question,
Swift,
please.
For sure. Swift definitely has less brutal farts. Not a doubt in my
name
mind.
Swift, it sounds like they're quickly passing.
That's how DeAndre Swift's farts sound. I'm positive of it. He just runs past you and you're whoop.
It's sucking in.
Yeah, his farts go internal.
Did you get a text message?
And he learned that one day when he and his friends were trying to light their farts on fire. And the first 3 were really funny. Then it got to DeAndre Swift and it was not funny anymore as that fart went straight back in. It was not funny. Coop, you were talking a little bit about Alvin Kamara may still be holding that RB1 value, it sounds like near that value on the trade market. But you, from what you were saying earlier, probably wouldn't trade away RB1 value for Alvin Kamara, right?
I wouldn't. And that's just because, like what I said, it's not a crazy possibility that they, if this team doesn't start picking it up, that we've seen, think about it. The team shut down Christian McCaffrey. The Panthers lost 7 of 9 games, and then Christian McCaffrey rolled his ankle. They even suggested that he came back in the game after he rolled his ankle, but then they shut him down and moved on to next year. There's a real possibility that they try their best to get this, at least some of this suspension put on this season. So that's what scares me. It's a real possibility. And it sucks to think about, but you have to think about it in fantasy football. There's 18 weeks, and his court date's set for early November, which means the season now goes into January. So if they could potentially put him on ice. So just keep that in mind with a guy like that.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. And I'm with you, Coop. I'm not gonna be probably trading away what's required to get Alvin Kamara right now. Jail, what about you?
No, it's just too risky. I agree with Coop's assessment. It's just a little too risky for what you're getting out of it. Alvin Kamara is a fantastic player, but if the price is the same, I'd rather be looking for a Swift or a Najee Harris. Or if it's slightly less, give me those guys. The risk on those guys is just far, far less than Kamara in my mind.
Yeah. I have another trade target for you guys. And this one's a little bit different than different kind of trade target than the ones that we were just talking about. It's a running back, and the player I want to talk about is Josh Jacobs. And the reason I say it's a little bit different is he is coming off a huge game, right? Like we just saw Josh Jacobs blow up. And so usually that's not when you want to trade for a player. But I'm looking at how he's been used so far this season and how I think people are viewing him still. He is one of the few true workhorse backs in the NFL that we're seeing so far this year. He's getting all the carries. Like, let's just look at the last couple games. Against the Broncos, he got 28 carries of a total 38 on the team. And that was with Derek Carr getting 7. The running back that got the second most was Zamir White with only 2 carries. The game before that, 13 carries of 19 on the team. Brandon Bolden got 3 of them. The game before that, Josh Jacobs, 19 carries. Zamir White got 1. And in their first game, Josh 3 for Brandon Bolden. Like Josh Jacobs is like an actual workhorse running back being viewed as like a low end RB2. I feel like in the public's perception of players, like people aren't viewing him like that. He has real RB1, like top 12 running back upside potential that you could get for him with the workload that he's getting. And so I think maybe if someone's trying to get rid of him after this big game, this is the kind of player where I don't mind going and spending up to trade for them after a big game, because I think we're going to see more of those, a lot more of those.
Josh Jacobs has 89% of the rushing attempts amongst running backs on his team. 89%. He also has 64% of the running back target percentage.
Right, dude.
He's got a 9% target share amongst the whole team.
I mean, I actually got it. A person came to me with a DM with a trade question, and they said they could get Jacobs or Kamara, and I said get Jacobs instead.
Damn,
he's playing good.
Yeah.
The thing is,
why not?
I was the one saying not to draft Jacobs because I was worried they were going to use Brandon Bolden or Amir Abdullah as a pass catching back. They have a little bit, but not even close to. I mean, like Jacobs played nearly every snap, like 90% of the snaps. So you can't really beat that right now. So
yeah, 84% opportunity share. He's got 15 red zone touches, which is the 5th most amongst running backs. Dude, he is getting the opportunity.
Go out and get him.
Go out and get him. Now, Tommy in here saying Chiefs Monday Night Football week 5, then week 6 bye. Tough time to trade. It's a great point, Tommy. If you're 0-4, maybe Jacobs isn't the player to go and get for you. But if you're 4-0, maybe you can eat that a little bit. You can afford to. You're going to play him in week 5 against the Chiefs. Like you're not going to sit him for that. But then week 6 bye, I understand that is tough. Does that change your opinion or your willingness to trade for a player like Josh Jacobs, Jail? Knowing what he's got coming up, it's almost the bye week.
It might change how I strategize, but you got to remember that football is still happening. So we're going to get another week of Josh Jacobs, and it's going to be his price is going to fluctuate again. So the more he does this, the more his price is probably going to go up.
What about you, Coop? Are you changing your like trade strategy here based on his bye coming up in just week 6?
Not really. I only factor that the bye week it heavily into the positions like quarterback and tight end, where I need to change my whole roster and add another one if I trade away my tight end. Like, with running backs, I don't really care too much about it.
Yeah, checks out. That's my guy. I'm fine trading high for Josh Jacobs right now, Coop. It sounds like you are as well, Jail. We're all on the same page with him. Do we got another guy, another trade target?
Do you got one, Coop?
No, I don't have one.
Oh, the Thielen one.
I'm not gonna lie to everybody and make one up right now. I only got the one.
No, another one I wrote down was James Robinson, Travis Etienne. You know, they had a down week this past week. I think both guys are in for better weeks. I think this Jacksonville Jaguars offense is, first of all, better than we expected.
Yeah.
The Jaguars are ranked 11th in rush attempts, so they're running a lot. I think both of these guys are decent trade targets for later on in the season. I think both their values are relatively low. Looking at trade value charts, I lost where ETN is 14.5, tier 7. So he's going around Tony Pollard, Khalil Herbert, Melvin Gordon, Rashad Penny. I just saw Gabe Davis, man. Gabe Davis shot up for no reason again. And then who was the other one? Was James Robinson, who also went down this past week, did not have a great week, lost a point in his value chart. So he's tier 4. So I think probably it makes sense. It is scale to their production so far, but I think both these guys are probably worth picking up.
Why would Gabe Davis shoot up? He played 98% of the snaps and he caught one.
I think he got left off the chart last week and he added him back. I think
his snap shares are amazing. He might be the league leader. In the 3 games he's played, 98%, 96%, 98% of snaps. I like that.
That's absurd.
But he's just not really catching a lot of passes, which I don't like that.
Yeah.
No. It's been
I was on top of that. Oh yeah, it's been 1 week.
It's been about the perfect way it could have gone for the Gabe Davis season. I feel like just from like a chaos perspective, like he starts the season just like, holy cow, this dude is gonna be it. And then it's just nothing. And now like so the people who are on like the Gabe Davis truther side got their moment of celebration. Now everyone else is getting their moment of it's not celebration, but like, oh, maybe I told you so.
Right.
Like,
but the thing is that he got hurt a little bit, so it keeps the argument alive. Like nobody is satisfied right now.
No one's right. No one's wrong.
The offseason argument has continued. Like we need him to be fully healthy and just see what's really going on. I love the turmoil. Keep it rolling.
Dustin wants to know, can you guess which QBs won AFC and NFC Offensive Players of the Week? You guys got any guess for who won AFC or NFC Offensive Player of the Week?
NFC got to be Geno, right? Yeah.
Got to be Geno Smith. Like, without a doubt, it's got to be Geno Smith.
AFC.
Got to be Brian Hoyer. I'm just kidding.
Axel.
Definitely not Axel. I don't know. Do you have a guess, JL?
I guess on the, what was it, NFC side?
Hey, yeah, no. We both guessed Geno for NFC. Now we have to guess AFC.
I'm trying to think of other plays that are good game. Jared Goff's also on the NFC side over there, right? This is tough. Maybe Russell Wilson had a good fantasy week. I'm just looking at some of the QB leaders.
Burrow.
That's cheating.
Wait, no. Yeah, it's got to be Burrow.
It's got to be Burrow.
QB leaders, dude.
I had it pulled up.
Got to be Kenny Pickett, dude. Got to give me Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pick 6.
Not a single pass dropped from Kenny Pick 6.
Old tickle fingers.
100%, dude. 100%.
Old tickle fingers. Did you call him tickle fingers? And I just repeated it without. I got to be careful about that. Just saying things. You could get me to say something. Probably.
Tim is a hog. It was Mahomes.
Damn, Mahomes.
It was Mahomes.
Right. Tim is a hog. Even if I wish that answer was wrong, and Dustin was like, "Tim is a hog." The answer is not Mahomes.
Tim, you got to get your picture up in the Better Sports app. I want to see your beautiful face in there.
Yeah, Tim, throw a hog pic right there. Give us a pic of your hog right there in your profile picture.
That'd be smart, dude. Well, let's that'll test our system here to see if there's
our system.
Really potentially open up a serious problem. So yeah, definitely do that.
First we break the fun button, then we just start putting hog pics in everybody's profile
Matt's
picture.
Just sweating. He's like, "There's better Al's." But, hey, if Al's on board, then it's allowed. So get those.
Very funny, guys. Tell them it's a joke, please.
Tell them it's a joke now.
It's a joke.
Better Al. Let me
put your hog pic in there.
Let me get a strong arm in the chat for Better Al, dude. Always gets me
better Al. Smash that fun button for Al over there.
Al comes in flexing on folks. Yeah, it's approved.
I believe
there we go, dude. Yeah, buddy.
Before we were talking about Tim's hog, we were talking about James Robinson and Travis Etienne, right? Whether they were good trade targets.
Yes,
I think those are the players you mentioned. I'm on board with trading for Etienne. I'm just afraid of what you're going to have to trade to get James Robinson right now. I think the feeling has completely switched on both of these players, and it's hard to trade for the player that is on the positive end of that, right? Like people are excited about what James Robinson's been doing so far. I think Travis Etienne, you can probably sneak in a trade. You know what I mean? You can probably sneak him in as an extra piece in a trade, even because people are really, really down on him, viewing him as almost like a gadget player in this offense.
I agree with Simon. And if I'm like JL, and I kind of am a Travis Etienne believer, then you don't want to be trading for James Robinson, right? Like you don't want to be trading for the guy you hope, kind of falls to the wayside. So I don't know if I would trade for James Robinson at his peak value. I'd rather trade for Etienne and hope for the upside.
Certainly not as peak value. Etienne is much more enticing to me as a trade target this week. Just looking around it, like, would you guys rather? Would you give up? I know we don't do like. Let me do non-positional then. Would you give up Debo for James Robinson?
No.
No.
Too good,
No.
bro.
Sorry,
you see Debo this week, dude?
See your face.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw Debo. Yeah, I saw
Hot.
Debo. Oh,
Hot.
did I see Debo?
Yeah,
Would you
dude.
Would you guys trade Mike Williams for James Robinson?
Now that is one.
That's interesting.
That's
That's the
interesting.
line.
I think the answer is still no, but we're flirting with that line. Like we are right there, just like I'm using my best pickup lines on that line.
Yeah.
That's
Both
fair.
of them very similar players. I think that's a fair trade. If we were allowed to say, are we allowed to queen bee it?
You queen me it. Would you? They're right next to each other in trade charts, so that makes sense.
That's what I'm
Why?
saying. Is it like,
Yeah.
and they're both capable of like a 50-yard touchdown at any time. And they're both kind of game script dependent. They're like, that's why if sometimes there are fair trades between running back and wide receiver. Yeah.
So let me ask you guys this: what about Miles Sanders or James Robinson? I know we don't typically talk about 1-for-1 trades, but for the sake of argument here,
Oh,
which player would you rather have on your
I
team?
think I'd rather have Miles Sanders because Miles Sanders doesn't have the potential for an emerging back to really come and steal the show. Like you're not going to have Kenneth Gainwell is not Travis Etienne, in my opinion.
no, and like we know that work is going to be stolen from Miles Sanders. Know what I mean? Like we're aware of that, and we see what we can get anyways from Miles Sanders. I'm going Miles Sanders as well here, but
That's interesting because Miles Sanders is valued less. He's about 5 less value points according to Alex's chart, but his height, like his trend, is 8. He's moved up 8 points.
About one hog lower. We should just
hog in the
we
bush.
get Alex on here. What time's he coming on? 9:30?
9:30, yeah. 9:30.
We'll swing some of these by him, dude. See what he thinks. Dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Miles Sanders. Like if I'm the Eagles, dude, I'm gonna stop like trying to force it with my quarterback. Maybe see if my running back can score first and save my quarterback because if you lose Miles Sanders, not the end of the world. Like they did fine with Boston Scott and Kenneth Gainwell and everything. If you lose Jalen Hurts, that's pretty bad. You're in trouble. It's a totally different offense. You have to change everything you do because Gardner Minshew is not. He doesn't do the same things that Jalen Hurts does. So for me, I would do my bet. Like I feel like the Bills at the end of last season did that. They were like, okay, we know we're in the playoffs. Let's use Devin Singletary, and then Singletary scored like 6 touchdowns over the last 4 games. Like I think that the Eagles should at least give that a shot. I know Jalen Hurts half the time he walks in untouched, which teams gotta see it coming at this point. No, like the fake and the anybody.
You think?
You would think, right?
They have to see it coming at this point, right? Like it would be impossible not to.
You would think, dude, but then Taysom Hill gets in the game and the defense is like, oh my God, what do we do?
That's not the quarterback they've been using.
Who is this guy?
What do we do?
He was just on the punt team.
Whoa, that's what they think every time.
Spooky goes. Like he's gonna run it, guys. You know what I mean? Like he hasn't thrown it in a year and a half.
And if he does throw it, you're probably okay. Like it's probably fine if you let Taysom Hill throw on you a little bit.
You want him through it.
Coop.
Exactly.
This just came across my screen and I wanted to share with you. Massachusetts, this comes from Sam McQuillan on Twitter. Massachusetts is set to announce a sports betting launch date tomorrow. Expectation is retail betting by the end of the year with mobile betting by the Super Bowl. How you feel about that?
It'll finally save me from what I've been doing, which is there's been a million different votes. Every time one gets passed, I send a text to John Mpemba, who is a Fantasy Alarm, the editor. He basically runs the show. And every time he's like, he knows exactly what's going on. So every time he's like, nope, it needs to pass the House. And I'm like, then it passes the House. And I'm like, it passed the House. He's like, well,
and then just wait. It'll get all the way to the end. And then they'll just be like, we hadn't really thought about how we're going to give these out. So we're going to have to do that for the next year and a half. And that's what they did in Maryland.
I'm not even going to send him. I'm not even going to send him this tweet because he'll definitely be like, well, he needs to pass the referendum 25 CB now. And I'll be like, okay, dude, are you a lawyer? Like, he's just plugged in, So
Plugged in, yeah.
But anyway, that should be fun. I hope it happens.
Guys, coming up next, we've got our friend Kyle Elfrink coming on the show, host of Lunch Money here on BSN. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show right now here on the Better Sports Network.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis.
Alvin Kramer, if I had to guesstimate about an hour before game time, gets ruled out, and it lights the world on fire once everybody wakes up. That had Alvin Kramer still in their lineups. You got West Coasters trying to get a redo or trying to get a sub in because it's unfair that they have to wake up so early to get him out of the lineup and make sure that everyone who's active and in the lineup should be. But isn't that fantasy football, man? Didn't we warn everyone about this?
Yeah, we had this exact conversation last week, which is why it was so funny when I saw all these people on Twitter complaining and asking for a retroactive move. Because this same situation happened the last time I think Saints were in London, and I went over the story. It involved Alvin Kamara. Same thing. My opponent had Kamara in the lineup, and in the halfway through the game, he asked the commissioner, hey, I don't even know where maybe he was California, somewhere on the West Coast. Oh, I woke up late. I didn't know he's out. Can I replace him? And the commissioner comes to me and says, hey, your opponent wants to replace Kamara. I'm cool with it if you are. I said, no, I'm not cool with it, man. This is just like anything in life. It's your responsibility. You knew that there are going to be games at 9:30 a.m. Eastern this year. I hate waking up early, but you just have to wake up early and do it.
What's stopping you from going back to bed? That's the big thing. What's stopping you from that? You get up, change your lives, go pee, go back to bed. It's one of those things that from now on, when you have anyone involved in London games that are the least bit questionable, including injuries that you see late in the week, let's say this happens, all of a sudden, minor tweak for someone, like you're still waking up that morning to make sure that player is playing. It's a few weeks a year in Rome. We're lucky that the NFL doesn't go completely worldwide and we have games in different countries every single week.
Front Yard Fantasy with Simon, JL, and Coop.
Dude, Jeff Wilson looked fantastic last night.
No,
did you see that?
Jeff Wilson had one great 32-yard touchdown.
Did you see the run? Did you see the run?
JL, the run was incredible. But I just want to look at the rest of this stat line to tell you why I'm not excited about Jeff Wilson. 18 for 74. That's why I'm not excited about Jeff Wilson. 18 for 74 with a 32-yard run. So really, that's what 74 minus 32. Without that one run, that's 17 for 32 yards. Or
4.1 a carry? You're complaining about 4.1 a carry?
Yeah.
Why? 4.1's not that bad.
It's jail. Without that touchdown, we're looking at a 17 for 42-yard game, which is whatever. You know what I mean? Okay, it's fine.
18 carries. You were turning your nose up at 18 carries.
I don't hate Jeff Wilson. And it's not that I won't start him. I think he's a perfectly fine start, but that's where the line ends. Anybody who thinks he's anything more than just a fine start is where I have a problem. He's just not exciting. He's not a player that's going to just completely blow up on a given week. He got the touchdown this week. You're thrilled. But next week when he doesn't get the touchdown, when he's 18 for 57 yards, you're going to be like, well, shoot, another classic Jeff week.
Better Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
Welcome back in, everyone. You are listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Joining us right now, we've got another member of the BSN family coming on, Kyle Elfrink. He's the host of Lunch Money from 12 to 3 p.m. right here on BSN. He's a host over on SiriusXM as well. Kyle, can't wait to talk some fantasy football with you this morning. He'll be up here any moment now. You guys probably know him from Lunch Money. Kyle, what's up? Welcome, Kyle.
Yeah, well, when they called me this morning and they said, Kyle, we've got breaking news. Blake Bortles has retired, and we need you to break it down. Let's put this in perspective. I said anything for the Gorning crew, anything for those guys. So let's talk a bunch of Blake Bortles, right?
We need you,
You
Kyle.
are literally breaking that news to me right now. I did not see that Blake Bortles retired, and that was genuine shock on my face. I feel like
it's over. It's very hard in the NFL nowadays to fail to complete like 63% of your passes. Blake Bortles in his career never got to 61% a year. He just a busted pick.
There goes all hope for Allen Robinson.
Yeah,
the one quarterback that could get him the football.
We won't have Blake Bortles to kick around anymore.
What was the? I feel like I remember, like I have this distinct memory of being at the Chicago airport for an interview and watching the Blake Bortles led Jaguars in the playoffs playing against the Patriots and just sitting there being like, no, like there's no way, right? Like Blake Bortles can't do this. And I got on the plane before the flight was over, and now I'm forgetting what happened in that game. But like I remember sitting there having the game up on the TV in the Chicago O'Hare Airport, being like, "There's no way Blake Bortles is leading."
That is conclusive proof that we are in a simulation, not a
that game. As a Patriots fan, I will say that game was way too close for comfort. And it was also like it was also like the AFC Championship. We only I think we won 24-20 or something. Like it was like way too close.
And that was the end of Blake Bortles. I don't think we ever saw him again after that game. Like that was the last moment. And you always wonder yourself, like, man, if that goes the Jaguars' way, how is history different? Like, is Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville? Is Blake Bortles still playing? Are the Jaguars but they lose that game and it's all gone to crap ever since that moment.
Oh my gosh,
man, that's
that
sad.
Butterfly effect to think about.
I wish we knew, that we're in that last moment so we could really have enjoyed it at the time.
We need we need some everything everywhere all at once going on in here so we can transfer to that timeline. Like I want to see what's going on over there.
I love they asked Bortles what he'd be doing if he wasn't playing quarterback in the NFL, and he gave us the straight answer on that, so we don't have to wonder. He said he was like, I think it was the guys from
mortgages.
Yeah, no, he was even worse. He was like probably doing construction, ripping butts.
Well, now he'll get his opportunity.
Yeah. Finally, you can chase your dream.
You can do it just for fun, right?
I feel like
obviously he's got millions of dollars.
I feel like we always have to have one quarterback in the NFL that like you wouldn't be surprised to catch ripping cigs in a Denny's parking lot. And we had Jay Cutler for a while. Blake Bortles was that guy, but who's going to be that guy now? Like who's the quarterback in the NFL that you're most likely to see ripping cigs outside of Denny's?
Derek Carr.
Oh, I got an answer.
Who is
it's 1000% Gardner Minshew. Right?
Gardner Minshew, 100%.
He's definitely that's the dude. He'll carry that torch for us. That beautiful man.
Man, I did not expect to open this talking about Blake Bortles for like 10 minutes, but here's where we are. Wow. And I don't think there was anything more important that we could have covered in that time period. Kyle, I wanted to play a little bit true or false for you. Ask you a question or a statement. You tell me if you think this is true or false for the rest of the season. We're going to break it down a little bit right here. The first one is Jalen Hurts will be the number one quarterback at season's end.
I'm going to say false on that one because I've got to stick to my guns here. My number one quarterback coming into the year was Lamar Jackson. So I'm sticking with Lamar Jackson. My thing with Hurts is I think we are on pace for about 220 carries with Jalen Hurts, which like in the abstract, you think that's hella good, man. I'm racking up fantasy points. I'm getting all this. He ain't lasting 220 carries. It ain't going to last. And I think that number scales back. I think the Eagles, as everybody knows, uber efficient, uber impressive, all this stuff, but they're going to hit some bumps in the road. It's going to be a playoff team, but they're going to have some losses. I shouldn't say this. I was going to say I still question his ability to make the big throw. I will tell you the last 2 weeks watching him has been the best he has looked throwing the football ever by far. Like you can see it. And maybe the simple addition of AJ Brown has given him that confidence. If he keeps that up, he can finish top 3, top 4, but I think the rushing scales back, the extreme efficiency scales back. Good, but not the best this season.
Yeah, I love that. He's got to throw some more touchdown passes at some point, right? Like he's throwing like one a game right now, something like that. It's not close to Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's throwing and running. He's giving you it all. This is like MVP season Lamar Jackson, where he led the league in passing touchdowns and also smashed you with the running. So
And
very
we
good
know,
call.
Lamar runs around a lot too and takes hits. The difference with Lamar Jackson is I give a lot of credit to a guy who's been there, done that. And he's done that now for 2 or 3 years. He's played that style, and we can say, well, maybe it's not sustainable as Jalen Hurts. We've never seen it. Betting on Lamar Jackson, I always take that bet over a bet on Jalen Hurts, who has never done it. Maybe at the end of the year, it's a different story, and then we give you credit for the accomplishment. But until you do it, I think you have to reserve just a bit of the excitement on that front.
Just look at Lamar Jackson's neck, and it's like, yeah, that dude can run the ball 170 times. He's got a neck like a cement mixer, dude. This guy,
like a cement mixer.
Yeah, the skinniest part of that guy's body might be the top of his head.
Yeah, to me, the conversation for QB1 is between Lamar and Josh Allen. Jalen Hurts is sort of that next tier for me, and tiebreaker is really the strength of schedule. The Bills have, as far as quarterback goes, a pretty easy rest of season schedule comparatively to the Ravens and the Eagles. So Josh Allen, I think, is just going to skate through.
Well, and the fact of the matter is this: you'll take any of the three because at this position, you don't need any of the top three. I mean, I'm a big proponent of you can survive with QB number 8. You can survive with QB number 9. Those guys are stellar at the top. Like they can erase a ton of mistakes by your fantasy team. And so I get that side of the argument. When the rest of my team sucks, if I get 34 points from Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts, it covers up all those bumps and bruises. So there is that aspect. But I just look at other good quarterbacks. They can easily get you 22, 24, 25 points. I'm kind of struggling to find points elsewhere. It's not so much the quarterback spot. It's these other spots I'm having issues with right now. And that I have issues with every year, not the QB spot.
Yeah. I'm with you. We've got another one here. And this one may be a little spicy. And I think people have been calling for it for years. But this is the beginning of the end for Derrick Henry.
True.
True.
And this was a big point myself and Ray made in the preseason with both McCaffrey and Henry. Once it starts talking injuries with running backs, it doesn't end. It doesn't like disappear and they come back and they become the stud they used to be. It usually just, it accelerates the end. Now, maybe Derrick Henry is great enough to delay that acceleration. Maybe McCaffrey is. I'm not betting on it. This position chews you up, spits you out, sends you home. You're hanging out with Blake Bortles a week from now.
Ripping cigs in the Denny's parking lot.
Not so bad.
I will say his week 4 was the best he has looked by far.
Right.
I know people were saying that after week 3. If you watch week 3, that wasn't Derrick Henry. I didn't see, Derrick Henry is back. Week 4 looked a lot better, much, much better and much closer to what I think he can be. I think it's notable that the Titans are so deficient with like offensive playmakers that they have arrived at the point where they say, okay, we're still going to run Derrick Henry. We're still going to do that. But we've also got to get the ball in Derrick Henry's hands on receptions because that's the only way we can really move the ball throwing. And it gets Derrick Henry away from some of those between the tackle injuries, hits, falls, all that stuff. You get him outside. You allow him the opportunity to step out of bounds instead of taking a guy head on. I think they're doing their best to use him while they got him. Let's give Derrick Henry 25 touches. Let's give him 28. I am not feeling that he lasts the season at a Derrick Henry level. He was a fade for me coming into the season. If I could pull a trade high now on Derrick Henry, I certainly would. He'd be a guy I'd send packing right now.
In all formats, redraft as well?
Yeah, I've got to get a running back. I think a lot of times people trade a running back and they don't get one back. That position is eminently important that I think anytime you trade a running back, you got to get some numbers back. But I'm willing to take other running backs over Derrick Henry right now. To me, rest of the way is the top 10. I think you can make the argument. I wouldn't put him in top 10. I'd be trading for a guy that I would foresee in the top 10. And any of these other guys that are doing well, I think you can probably go to them and say, you want Derrick Henry? You're getting 20 touches a week. If I could do something where I flip Derrick Henry and I get Joe Mixon and a piece, I'm doing it. If I can get a running back that 4 weeks ago was in a comparable spot to Derrick Henry and I get that extra piece, I'm doing it. Because that's what people, am I really going to trade Derrick Henry for Alvin Kamara? Not straight up. But if you can get Kamara and a piece, I'm willing to do that. If I get Kamara and a wide receiver 3, for Derrick Henry, then I'm interested. If I can go out and get Dalvin Cook and a piece for Derrick Henry, those are the kind of trades I'm talking about.
I love that because, like, when you compare Derrick Henry and Joe Mixon, Derrick Henry's easier to trade because he has that fun factor. And you can't ignore that, right? Like, fantasy gamers, man, you think about Derrick Henry and you, like, in your mind, you immediately picture them playing football. And Derrick Henry is fun to watch when he's in his prime. So it's not that hard to trade Derrick Henry because who wouldn't want him on their team, right?
But yeah, you love rooting on the 60-yard trampling of DBs.
Yeah.
I mean, those are like the highlights of the year when Derrick Henry is throwing guys around and just running them over. Now, another guy, and I don't know where you stand on this, I wouldn't do like Derrick Henry for Najee Harris in a piece. I'm a little worried about Najee. I think he's getting work, which is great. But guys, I'm of the belief the foot from the preseason is still the foot in week 5. I think there's something going on there. He's trying to tough it out, but I just don't, we may get a healthy, or we may get 16 games, 17 games, but I think it's going to be kind of a slog of 16 or 17 games for Najee Harris.
Yeah, he pretty much established himself as the tough guy that always plays, and now he has to stick by that line, right?
Even though he doesn't want to. Yeah, for both of these guys, the opportunity is there, which I like. But you're right, there's concerns. Derrick Henry's, both these guys, like, offensive lines are just not holding up, which I think is making it really tough to run. Derrick Henry, we've seen like less usage than last year, but still pretty high, still decently high in terms of rushing attempts. And like you said, we're working him into the target game. So I think it's like, it's not the beginning of the fall off. We've already been in the fall off for a while. We've known that. He's what, 27, 28? Like, he can't play forever. This isn't a Tom Brady type of situation.
Well, and again, it's no knock on Derrick Henry. I mean, by all means, I'm not challenging the guy's manhood.
Right.
It's a monster.
Cruel, unending marching of time.
Pop it off. It's like, but this is just the nature of the sport and the position. And you just got to look at the history. There are very few Adrian Petersons and Frank Gores, guys that into their 30s are still putting up decent numbers. It's really, really difficult to do. And that goes for like the greats, like LaDainian Tomlinson kind of disappeared. But once it started, it ended. Marshall Faulk, it kind of ended. Priest Holmes, like these were the guys who were studs. Larry Johnson. I mean, you can look Sean Alexander, like all these guys who have been studs. Now, Derrick Henry, to his credit, has probably beaten the odds to an extent. Like, considering the amount of work he has piled up on his tires over the past 4 or 5 years, it's impressive he's still going. Like, he's beaten the odds already, but we need to realize he's already beaten the odds, and anything else you shouldn't really expect out of Derrick Henry.
Yeah, Edwin Porras pointed that out, that this offseason he was staying off Henry because of the foot injury, especially. When you see running backs with foot injuries, it goes, like you mentioned, LaDainian Tomlinson, Sean Alexander with the turf toe. Like, so quickly they were done after that. So you have to be real careful with those foot injuries for these guys.
And I spent so long. I feel like the last 3 seasons before this one was like, man, I'm not drafting Derrick Henry. There's no way he can do it again. There's no way after all that work he can do it again, right? Like look at running backs who have had that amount of work and what they did the next year. Okay, well, there's no way he can do it again, right? And so this season I just said, I'm not saying that anymore. I'm not saying no way Derrick Henry can't do it again anymore. I'm just going to let him not do it, and then I'll make that decision for the next year.
Then you'll take your victory.
Exactly. Like once he doesn't do it, then okay, then I'm not drafting him anymore. But like I'm done calling for it. I'm done calling for it because God, he just like year after year made me look silly every time. Whenever I was like, there's no way he is the exception already.
Larry Fitzgerald did that to us for like 9 years.
Well, the knock had always been, especially in PPR, there's no receptions. As you know, the receptions kind of picked up this year, and the rushing attempts have pulled back. I think he was averaging like 23, 24 rushing attempts in the previous 2 years. He's down to 19. And I kind of think that's a good sweet spot now. I will tell people, don't expect 5 catches every week. I don't know if they're that dependent. Hopefully they can find something else to move the football. But I think 3 a week is maybe what you shoot for with Henry. And for a lot of us, that's 3 extra points, which can still maybe keep him up there as an RB1. If you're getting those 3 extra points plus the, 20 yards, that's another couple of points. That's 5 points he's getting where you usually didn't get that. So you pull away from the rushing attack, you add it in the receiving game. Maybe you come out the same for Derrick Henry.
And I see Philly Max saying, so if you think Henry isn't going to finish the season, who's going to get those carries when he's out? I don't think anyone here's calling for an injury just saying with that preseason injury or with the extensive work he's gotten, expect that workload to go down. Maybe not the same Derrick Henry that we've seen on the field going forward. Unless someone is, are you calling for an injury? You think he's a higher injury risk?
Well, calling for an injury. This is what I always say. I'm never going because everybody, oh, you can't predict injuries. So I'm not going to sit here and predict. You know what you can do? You can expect injuries. Okay. You can expect them. You should expect things. I expect so-and-so to have 5 catches this week. Why can we expect those things, but we can't expect injuries? I mean, we've got to be real about the situation if we're serious about the game. I don't know if it's an injury per se, but I think this is just a guy who's not playing with the armor that he had 2-3 years ago. He's a little beat up. He's aging, so you don't have the explosiveness. Maybe what was 2 years ago for Derrick Henry was a 77-yard touchdown run. This year, it's a 52-yard bust a couple of tackles, but you get caught from behind now. It's one of those things. And so you lose the touchdown. You lose the 25 yards. To answer the question of who would be the guy, Hassan Haskins is who I'm holding on to. I've only got him in one league, and there's nothing going on with him right now. Zilch. Yeah. He's kind of a luxury hold on your bench. When the bye weeks start, when the injuries pile up, I probably won't be able to keep him. But that would be the guy I'd bet on if Henry were to go down.
I'm with you on that one. I see Adam Weber in the chat. What's up, Adam? Welcome in. Good morning. Glad to have you over here. Good. What were we about to ask?
I was just going to point out. I actually tweeted this out. There's only been 3 running backs in the league that have played every single game in 3 separate seasons. Derrick Henry is already an anomaly, as he's one of them. Only 3 guys in the league have done that. Do you guys want to try and guess who might be there?
These are current guys. Current guys in the league.
Current guys that have played 3 separate seasons where they played every single game, and there's only been 3 guys.
I'm just kidding.
I was
100%. He's never played a complete season.
One of them's kind of tough. They're both kind of tough, but one of them is one of the premier guys. The other guy.
Oh, we were talking about. Is it Chubb?
Nope. Nick Chubb.
Taylor? Jonathan Taylor?
One. Taylor's only been in the league for 2 seasons.
2 years.
Oh,
so
you said it was 3?
3. So 3 separate seasons they've played every single game.
It's a tough Singletary?
No,
he's only the 2 years, I guess.
Yeah. And they got to be they have to be starters. So it's like one of them that isn't a starter, Duke Johnson, but he didn't start all the games. So he just kind of never got hurt because he wasn't playing.
Tommy guessed Joe Mixon in the chat.
Nope, Mixon's been hurt a ton. Eckler's super close, but Eckler missed 1 game last year.
Melvin Gordon?
Nope, Melvin Gordon suffered injuries as well. Missing. He only did it twice, I think. I have a big list of all the people. So one of them, the one that was very difficult to get, would be Mark Ingram.
Okay.
This other player was considered very healthy. Anomaly level healthy to start his career, but then he's been injured in the last 2 years. He started his career playing every single game in 3 straight years, and then he's been injured the last 2 years. He's one of the best running backs.
Zeke? Jay has a good guess. Zeke?
Nope. Zeke's never played. Also never played every game 3 times.
That's injured, healthy the first 3 years, injured the last 2. David Johnson?
Better than David Johnson.
Leonard Fournette? Or is he
better than Leonard Fournette?
Better than Leonard Fournette.
Joe Mixon.
We already arguably the best running back in the league, some say.
McCaffrey?
Saquon Barkley.
Christian McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey has 3 years of 16, huh?
Christian McCaffrey. He started his career playing 3 straight years of 16. And then next 2 years he got hurt. So he was like the Iron Man for a while there, but that's how rare it is. Those are the only 3 guys to do it out of all.
Yeah, McCaffrey suffered that same thing that you guys were talking about with Henry, where you looked at him and you're like, dude, how can your body hold up? How's he going to do this? And for a couple of years, like you noted, surprise, surprise, surprise. But we're paying the piper at this point now with Christian McCaffrey.
And that's the reason I thought of that, Kyle, is because you were like, you know what, we have to bet on what's reasonable. When you look at those numbers, it's like betting that it's going to be sunny every day. You'd be a pretty good weatherman percentage-wise, wouldn't you? Right? Like if you just bet every running back was going to get hurt and miss 1 game, you would actually do really well, right? So I'm with you on that. If you want to make that bet.
This and you guys are dealing with it. We deal with it. Everybody wants to trade, make this move. If I'm not doing something with my team, I'm going to lose. I'm going to be finished. It's really critical because some people say, "Oh man, I'm good in the backfield." look at this. I got 2 starters who are killing it. I got a guy on the bench who would be starting for every other team in the league. And they get a little cocky at this position. But to your point, you can't get cocky at the running back position because it's almost mandatory for these guys to miss a game or two. And then, of course, bye weeks, we're just getting to that. Like, nobody is, this idea that I have a great fantasy team on October 5th. Forget about it, man. We haven't even gotten to bye weeks.
Right.
That's where you separate people is you're going to have depth. You're going to have injuries. We all have it. How do you survive these next 5 to 6 weeks? Tell me after week 11, or after week 12, you got a good fantasy team. Don't tell me after week 4.
And maybe you drafted Elijah Mitchell and Cordero Patterson, and your team's not looking so hot right now. Maybe those were your starting running
Now
backs.
you can have, conversely, you can have a horrible fantasy team after 4 weeks.
Yeah, I'm aware.
I get great fantasy team.
Simon goes, I'm aware.
Yeah, I'm aware. I'm aware. I was scrolling through my teams this morning. There's a couple stinkers in there this year. There's one squad in particular. It's just I'm 0-8 because it's an against the median league as well. And I'm just sitting there. I haven't even beaten the median one time, and I'm sitting there at 0-8. And it's an Elijah Mitchell, Cordero Patterson. Those running backs, they go down. You got to figure it out. You got to be able to figure it out on the waiver wire, trades, whatever it is. But if you don't, it's going to be tough to win that league. It's going to be tough to win a game if you don't have at least one solid running back. I wanted to ask you one more question here, Kyle, before we had you go. This one a little bit different. I feel like a lot of times at this point in the year, we're talking about disappointments, like players that we were excited about, but they didn't quite pan out. I want if you could victory lap about one take from this offseason going in through 4 weeks. What are you victory lapping about? What's your take, your player that you're ready to take that victory lap on, get that credit for, the brownie points?
Oh, well, I have Khalil Herbert everywhere. Do I get to take that victory
Absolutely, you get to take that.
I don't know.
victory
It's
lap.
1 week, but when you said something I felt good about last week was having Khalil Herbert everywhere. I didn't have to race to the waiver wire. He was free. He was sitting on my bench. I had him. I think it's 4 separate leagues. So I not everywhere, but 4 separate leagues I have him. In only 2 of those did I have Montgomery. So in 2 of those leagues, it worked out the way it's supposed to work out. I diagrammed the play in the preseason, and it worked perfectly. I was really cool on Gabriel Davis coming into the year, and I don't want to say that's a win yet because he's been beat up. But I think people really jumped the gun on pushing him up to this level of like, man, he's a wide receiver too. And what we saw against Kansas City, in the postseason is a sign of things to come. I like Davis, but the price was just getting really silly.
Absurd.
Like it was so expensive. And so that was like an easy bail. The other thing is, and maybe you've heard this, we've had a little back and forth with some of our followers and commenters and stuff. They hate me for my take on Travis Kelce. And everybody treats this as, you hate Travis Kelce. You don't no, it's not. Travis Kelce is the lead dog, the best dog at tight end. I'm just a guy who's not going to invest in a stud tight end. And so, well, what did you do? What do you have? Well, luckily enough, I have Tyler Higbee in a couple of spots, and it's fine. You know what? I'm doing okay in those leagues. And the argument with Kelce is, I get it. He's good. He's consistent. He's strong. You feel good at tight end. A lot of people say he gives you some kind of just immense edge at that position that your opponent can't overcome. They can't beat it. It's not true. You don't need a good tight end, just like you don't need a great quarterback to win. It's nice to have one, but if you look at wins and losses, it is still driven by running backs and wide receivers. If you look at head-to-head in all your leagues and say, okay, the guy with Travis Kelce, maybe he's over 500, but is he absolutely every week, every time he wins the tight end position, does he win the matchup? That's going to be about 500. But if you are a guy who every time you win the running back matchup, your winning percent, if you win your running back matchup every week, your winning percentage is going to be like above 60 in that league. Wide receivers, if you're winning that every week, it's going to be a much greater impact on the wins and losses. Kelce helps. Kelce's great. I get it. You feel like every week I got 12 points at least coming my way. Totally understand that. I just think at that position, we only need one tight end. It's one tight end, man. You got Kelce. The other 11 people don't. You know what? Your chances of winning, there's people in that group of 11 that have better odds than you. You got Kelce, that's a bonus, but you passed on running back depth or wide receivers, maybe an ace quarterback. I'd rather build strong at those positions than tight end.
Coop
I'm
always
with you.
says something that that like sticks with me here, and it's know your strengths when you're drafting as well. Like Coop, you talk about like you're less likely to draft Travis Kelce because you are so invested in the tight end position that you know you can identify a later guy and get decent value. Whereas like maybe if you have zero confidence year after year, you're stuck with the bust, the Cole Kmet, the Trey Burton, like the guy that got the hype and didn't quite do it. Maybe it's more worth it to you to go draft a Travis Kelce. Like maybe that makes more sense for you to shore up that position because you've struggled identifying a tight end that's going to break out in the past.
Lean into what you do. So I am contractually obligated to write about tight ends every single week, right? Like that's my job, and I work hard at it. So I'm wasting that resource by drafting Travis Kelce, right? The other thing I say is that to what Kyle just said, a tight end has never finished as the number one flex player in the league, right? So you're talking about the position player that scores the most points. It's never been a tight end unless you play like tight end premium. It's been wide receivers, Cooper Kupp, Antonio Brown. It's been running backs many times. But tight end's never been the number one flex player. So throws positional scarcity out the window for a second. If you're drafting Travis Kelce in the first round, you're drafting a guy that you know is not going to score the most points. So for me, I don't take a tight end until I look at my list of guys and there's nobody left that I think can be the highest scoring flex player available. So that's where I'm at. You know what I mean? Like, and you can come in and draft, if you're smart like Kyle, you come in and draft Lamar Jackson and he scores the most points in the entire league, but for me, I got to take those running backs and wide receivers first. So I'm fully on board with that team.
So I got to ask you, tight end whisperer, Coop, Will Dissly, man, should he be owned in leagues? Like this position sucks, yet this guy has 3 touchdowns and like every week he's getting a score. Should he be owned? I'm not saying like we need to own him, but should he be off waiver wires in leagues?
I'll tell you this. There are 2 formats where he does need to be owned. That's best ball and standard, where standard touchdowns are king above and beyond. But this guy only has 12 targets. He's only running like 50% of the routes. And we've seen this before with Robert Tonyan, right? Everyone looks back at that season and says, oh, he was tight end 3, tight end 4, blah, blah, blah. But they forget that ask somebody who actually had Robert Tonyan that year. He carried you to the fantasy playoffs and then to the championship. And in the championship game, guess what happened? He caught 1 pass and it wasn't a touchdown. He pulled your pants down in front of all your friends in your fantasy. So that's what I'm worried about with Will Dissly, with these guys that only play half the snaps. Maybe stash him on a bench just to see if they just take Noah Fant and throw him completely on the back burner. But as of right now, I can't trust a guy that only has 12 targets through 4 games.
Okay, so I'll hold on to Kyle Pitts and not drop him for Will Dissly then.
Dude, you would be Kyle. We're chuckling, man, but I'm getting those questions on Reddit. People are mad. But Kyle Pitts, dude, I'm hanging tight. I'm trading for
I own 0 shares of Kyle Pitts.
I figured
but I'm mad right there with you, people. It's like, what in the hell are they doing in it?
I know, man.
It's brutal. You go out and you invest like nobody else in the NFL is investing like you are at tight end, and then you just say, you know what, go stand out there and we're throwing over here. Okay, go over there. We're going this direction. It's a real waste of resources right there in Atlanta.
A complete.
And the game they won the most, the game they won most soundly was his best game, right? Like he's like, I'm trying to win. I can't throw to Pitts. Then he throws it to Pitts and they win the game easily. Like maybe try a little more of that, right?
Yeah, get Pitts a little more involved in that game. Kyle, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come hang out with us this morning. Everybody listening, if you want to hear some more of Kyle, which obviously you do, make sure you tune in this afternoon for Lunch Money from 12 to 3 p.m. right here on Better Sports Network. Kyle, an absolute pleasure, my man.
Yeah, take it easy, guys. Good to hang out. Great to have you on in the morning. We'll do it again, okay?
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your day. Guys, coming up next, we've got Alex, a.k.a. Trade Daddy, coming on to answer your trade questions and talk some Week 5 trade values. Peaked in High School is going to be here with us. Right now, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Collectible moments.
Everybody up here at U.S. Cellular. Sox 5 runs, 6 hits. The 2-1 to Bartlett. Swing, chop to short. Ramirez has it, throws. Bartlett picks the perfect game. His second no-hitter. People going crazy here at U.S. Cellular. He's mobbed by his teammates. A perfecto.
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, lays it in. Right out, 1 second left. What a play by Bird. Bird stole the impounding pass. Laid it up to DJ. DJ laid it up at him. And Boston has a 1-point lead with 1 second left.
Out of the I formation on first down. Peterson the carry, looking for running room on the right side, has it to the 25, across the 30, across the 35, and out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Adrian Peterson has just gone over 2,000 yards for the season, the 7th man in NFL history to cross the 2,000-yard mark.
Well, a thundering ovation for number 66, Mario Lemieux.
Just the emotion I'm sure Mario is feeling in this place. You don't appreciate something until it's gone, and it's so great to have Mario back.
Yager turns around. Over to Lemieux. Mario Lemieux, his first goal in his comeback here tonight at the Mellon Arena. And the Penguins lead 3-0, and he is smiling like a butcher's dog. Mario Lemieux.
Oh, the band is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone. The Bears have scored, but the Bands are out on the field.
Pearson moves in front of the STP Dodge. Petty comes back to the inside. They almost touch as they move down low in the bank, and you're going to be side by side as they exit the bank and head for the finish line.
Richard Petty goes back in front. They both spin. They're in the wall. Petty is sliding, slamming into the wall. He's coming down toward the finish line. Will he make it? Pearson is still running. The winner is car number 21. An amazing finish. Richard Petty's car demolished in the front end, as well as car number 21. An unbelievable finish, a terrible crash. David Pearson has won the Daytona 500. Leitner catches, comes down, dribbles, shoots, scores! Christian Leitner has hit the bucket at the buzzer! Pitched by Downing, swinging, there's a drive into left center field. That ball is gonna be out of here. It's gone. It's 7-15. There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron.
The most valuable player is Magic Johnson. 42 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists. He starts at center, plays forward and guard, and leads the Los Angeles Lakers to a world championship 123-107 over Philadelphia.
Whether you collect sports memorabilia, fantasy championships, or winning bet slips, talk about it on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Joining us right now, we've got our friend Alex Korf, a.k.a. the Trade Daddy, a.k.a. Peaked in High School, creator of the Ultimate Trade Value Charts. Alex, thanks so much for joining us again this Wednesday.
Hey guys, sorry my Trade Daddy merch hasn't come in yet. I have a hat and a mug on the way, but it got held up at customs. I don't really know what's going on. Next week though.
That makes sense.
What you putting in that mug that it's getting held up at customs?
You don't want to know.
Trade. Baby, I got your money.
I wish we could have a solo layout.
Alex,
how much would that Trade Daddy, that song going? The Trade Daddy song. Get it?
How much would it cost for you to get a Trade Daddy tramp stamp? Like in like cursive font. How much would that cost for you to get Trade Daddy as a tramp stamp tattooed on your body?
Barbed wire.
Yeah. There's a number, but I don't know what that number is. Like it's probably high. It's probably up there pretty high.
$10,000.
32?
No, that wouldn't do it.
Oh, I'd do it for $10,000. I'll get like almost anything daddy that's not too offensive tattooed anywhere on my body. That's
Peen Daddy. Would you get Peen Daddy?
I think that falls under too offensive.
You know what? Let me
Peen Daddy, bro.
I will get Peen Daddy tattooed for $10,000 after I get married. Once I am officially married, then I'll get Peen Daddy tattooed on my body.
You got to wear your shirt Sports Network logo tattooed on your lower back for $10K?
Yeah, absolutely. No questions.
I might go there with that.
All right, Al, set the budget.
Make it happen.
Find the money.
Make that one happen, dude. Yeah.
Alex,
I got to ask Alex real quick. I see you're wearing 2 shirts today, so I imagine the shoulder is
going the opposite direction.
The shoulder is not recovered. Is that the case going on here?
Yeah, it's getting there. I had a great sports massage. I don't know if you've ever done one of those, and ever done one on your neck. I literally got choked for 45 minutes. It is not my thing.
Usually you have to pay extra for that.
Yeah, I actually have 2 shirts on because I'm just covered in bruises from it. So no, not quite back yet, but it's getting better.
I don't know. That reminds me of the time my mom went to a spa with one of her friends, and she shows up and she ordered the body scrub, and she comes home and tells the story like she's put into like a medical room with metal tables, and this old woman comes in and throws like a pot of boiling water on her and then scrubs her with Brillo pads for 45 minutes. And like she left like pink, all her skin off. And it was like, well, I just paid for someone to beat me for 30 minutes, like in that room instead of a massage or a scrub, whatever it is. Alex, we'll talk more about your shirtless body and your shoulder recovery and your massage habits in a little bit. But I didn't want, in case anybody here has not heard you talk before about these trade value charts, you want to tell people a little bit about what they are, how you come up with them, and how you can use them to help you make some trades?
Sure. So 5 or 6 years ago, I built a model that pulls aggregate expert consensus rakes, puts it through some, I guess now it's even software that I've built, and generates these trade values. So we're looking for 1-for-1 positional trades based on a market consensus versus just one expert or one small way to evaluate. So really the goal is to be able to help people understand how to trade a little bit more in their entire league with more of a market snapshot. Really focused at looking at running backs versus wide receivers versus tight ends, and not as much looking at trading the same position for each other, because we don't really like those kind of trades. That's kind of what we're looking at.
Absolutely. And if you guys want to follow along, we can get that link posted in the YouTube chat for you as well, to Alex's trade value charts. You can also find him on his Twitter at peakedinhs_FF, peakedinhs_FF. And you can find him on Patreon at Peaked in High School. That is school with a K. Follow along on any of those places once we get that posted for you. And it looks like if you're in BSN right now in the app, we got that posted in the chat for you over there. We had a trade question come in while we were talking to our friend Kyle that I wanted to ask you. I'm trying to find this right here. James came in and asked us, I got Saquon in a trade. Should I now trade Eckler and Mike Williams for Breece Hall, T. Higgins, and Hollywood? So we've got Marquise Hollywood Brown, Breece Hall, and T. Higgins on one side, and then Austin Eckler and Mike Williams on the other side of this trade.
You said Brown, Breece, and Higgins?
And Higgins is the other one, yeah.
Versus what was the other side?
Austin Eckler and Mike Williams. So Eckler most definitely going to be the highest rated player in that trade, right? I'm looking at the PPR trade value charts right now, and he's up there at 64.5, the 5th overall running back behind only Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, JT, and Nick Chubb. So we've got 64.5, and then Mike Williams, I imagine his value went up again. He's sitting there at 35, so you're, near 100 with those two guys. You're pretty much at 100, 99.5, right?
Yeah.
Or am I doing that math wrong?
No, you're fine. I would round that to 100. It's close enough. Sig figs.
So we got 100 on that side, and then on the other side, T. Higgins, I imagine, is pretty high up there.
40. And then we got Hall at Hall's a little low still.
Yeah. He's
32.
40. Yeah, 32, tier 4.
So and then Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood's down at 27. So like the value's slightly there on the 3 side. I guess more of this kind of comes into bias. So I'm not super into having 2 of the same team when you're looking at Eckler and Williams there. That's just kind of, I don't know if that's really fair. If it's a offense that's really, really good. Yeah. And that's just, my bias. Like if you're looking at a team that's really killing it, like I can't even give a good example of someone where they're, like Mixon and Chase. I'd be totally okay with that, but their offense hasn't been quite to that level. And then I think Hollywood is undervalued, and I think Hall has a lot of upside. So personally, I would probably rather have the 3 side on this one, which is weird because normally I want the side with the best player. How about you guys? I see some faces.
No, I'm usually the guy that trades for the best player, but I'm with you on, and that's how you know it's a great trade, because honestly, there's like a sliding scale of like the trade where you're doing the 2-for-1 to get the best players, a nice trade, but I actually think if you're getting more players and the better players, that's the best possible trade, right? Especially if you have somebody you can drop, right? Because it's like I think we get a little too wrapped up in this whole idea that if you're getting more players, that it's bad, or that's how you trick people by saying, hey, but you're getting more players. Sometimes if you're getting players just as good and an extra guy, then that's the best trade possible.
Right. It depends on the other 2 numbers, right? Because if I say, hey, I'll give you $75 for your, $100, but it's split into 2, like it's not, there's still makes sense for you to take that trade if the value is there, and it collectively adds up to something that you believe is worth more than the premium that you're getting by having the best quote unquote player. And when I say best, I'm talking like the highest market value. not necessarily the best, because I think that sometimes gets confused, right?
Yeah, I'm on that other side as well. Like, I'm looking at this. T. Higgins and Hollywood in most lineups are probably both plugging straight into your roster. No, like you're probably taking Mike Williams, taking him out, and then plugging in both T. Higgins and Marquise Brown. Like, this could be 3 starters in your line. Like, I'm down for this trade. I like it. And I was just rerunning those numbers. It is shocking how close this is in the trade value chart. Like 99.5 to 98.5 is the numbers that I got right there. Very rarely do we see a question come in like this with multiple players on each side where it's just like, yeah, the trade value chart says that's an even trade.
I think it's a super fair one. I could see an argument for either side, but I weirdly on the 3 side, like we said, like it's interesting.
Absolutely. We saw a huge drop this week from Kyle Pitts. It seems like people were maybe holding on a little bit of hope, but he dropped 20.5 points in your trade charts this week, down to 14.0. Is this a trade window for Kyle Pitts, or do you expect this trend to keep on going down? Like, he's down there below Zach Ertz now, right above TJ Hawkinson.
He was up there with like Waller. He's up there with like just below Mike Williams, Breece Hall, this tier we were just talking about. He was up there just last week.
Yeah. So I'm always going to defer to the tight end whisperer, and I'm going to listen now.
Yes. So for me, as a tight end whisperer, I'd say, Kyle Pitts, people are just giving up. I think we hit the point where people are finally like, okay, maybe it's not going to be what we thought. To me, I see that. I'm like, that price, Kyle Pitts is a little enticing.
There you have it, folks. There you have it.
Now, what does our tight end idiot think about that, Coop? Like, someone who doesn't know about tight ends or write about them in an award nominated fashion.
All right, go ahead, Simon.
Never won.
Oh no, I've been nominated for too many awards.
I'll have to DM JJ Zachary.
I told him yesterday.
All the awards. Yeah. I'll DM him and ask him. Now, I mean, for me, here's the thing about Kyle Pitts. You're taking a risk. That's the situation with fantasy football is, if it were a slam dunk, you wouldn't be able to trade for him, right? Like, if everything were perfect, he'd be Mark Andrews, and we wouldn't be able to trade for him. But he's got so much going for him in terms of athleticism that's unparalleled, right? His average depth of target is better than any tight end in the league, better than Mark Andrews, better than Travis Kelce. You have to go down to like the weirdos like OJ Howard that caught 2 passes and somehow it averaged out to like 16 yards a catch, right? His average depth of target right now is like 14 yards. He's running real high A-dot routes, which when that gets going, if it does, it translates to massive games. That's how you get these massive games. And his target share right now is like, no joke, like still like 23%. They're just not throwing a ton. Like, they only threw 20 times this week. It's the same situation that's going on with like Cole Kmet or like Evan Ingram, where if they don't throw, you can't have big games. So that's what you're buying. You're buying this idea that you have a guy who's built like Megatron, and he plays 75%, 70% of his snaps at wide receiver, and that it's going to come together for you the way it did in week 2. So that's what you're buying. And there's no other guy out there that you could buy that has that upside, that isn't already doing it. Like Mark Andrews is doing it right now. There's a possibility that Kyle Pitts does do that. You know what I mean? Where there's like Tyler Conklin's never going to do that. His A-dot is like 3 yards or whatever it is. And like, he plays wide receiver like 30% of his snaps. He's never going to do that for you. So that's the difference between Kyle Pitts and some of these other guys.
So do you think where Kyle Pitts is now is fair, or would you have him higher?
I think where he is on this chart is too low. Because, like, for instance, I would rather have Kyle Pitts than Zach Ertz, because Zach Ertz, you get a couple more games of Zach Ertz, and then DeAndre Hopkins comes back. Last year, DeAndre Hopkins was hurt for the end of that season. We really haven't even seen Kyle Pitts with just DeAndre Hopkins for that many games. And you're about to get Zach Ertz with DeAndre Hopkins and Marquise Brown and Rondale Moore, something that, we didn't really see. So for me, I'd rather have the upside of Kyle Pitts than whatever you're getting from Zach Ertz. A guy like Dallas Goedert is the 3rd target on the team. He has a 13.5% target share, which, Kyle Pitts is at 20. He's at 13. I think I'd rather have the guy that could be a top 2 target on his team and have that upside than this kind of like boring-ish guy. Because when you get to the playoffs and you get to the championship, you're only going to be going up against studs. Like, for me, I don't want to coast in with a guy that's like middle of the pack and come in 3rd place playing against guys with Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce. I'd rather give myself a shot at having my own version of that. And I think Kyle Pitts still could be that. That's why I trade for the upside. And I'll go down, you know what I mean? Like if it means coming in 7th instead of 3rd because I traded for Kyle Pitts and he didn't do anything, so be it. I'm trying to get 1st place. I don't care about 2nd. Got too many leagues to care about 2nd place. So that's my rank on Kyle Pitts.
You feel the same about Kittle, or is he?
The concern with Kittle, I do feel that way about Kittle. I think Kittle's still in that top 5 group for me. But there is a little concern that with Trent Williams out, he's going to have to block a little more than usual. But that said, he is the one tight end over the last 10 years that has essentially finished top 5 while blocking on over 15% of his snaps. And in these first 2 games, he's only blocked on 3 pass plays in each of them. So it really isn't as bad as people are making it out to be, in my opinion. I think Kittle's another guy that I would buy low on.
Yeah, Kittle's one I'm trying. I'm sending offers everywhere, but not getting any luck.
I think I sent one for Kittle just last night. So I'm with you guys. We got a question from Randy in the chat saying, do I drop Dalton Schultz and pick up Tyler Conklin off waivers? Thought this would be a fun little exercise to just look at where Dalton Schultz is on this chart. So he's tier 9. His value is 8.5, but it's around the likes of Elijah Moore, Adam Thielen, Curtis Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Darrell Henderson. So it's not no value. Are you guys dropping Dalton Schultz, or are you going to try and trade him? What are you doing with him?
I'm keeping him, baby. I mean, I don't want to, with all this tight end stuff, I do jump in, but like he's got if you look at routes run per dropback, he's 4th, right? He missed a game, but routes run per dropback, he's 4th behind only Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce, Tyler Higbee. We've seen him finish tight end 3 with Amari Cooper, Gallup, and CeeDee Lamb. So with CeeDee Lamb and Gallup, I don't think that's too much of an ask. This isn't a guy that in a vacuum I love, because I don't think he's like that athletic, that good at beating man to man, but I would rather have him than Tyler Conklin, because I think Conklin is the guy who's he's been elevated by Joe Flacco throwing 50 times a game, and that's not going to happen. That's over now.
Yeah, so I'm a little concerned about Schultz just because, right, what is his PCL? But I'm not going to fight the tight end whisperer over this. I would see maybe trying to trade him, because I think his perception's probably still a little higher than what you've seen.
Right.
But I'm not excited to start Conklin. I'm actually pretty depressed thinking about it.
I'm pretty depressed to start him.
Yeah.
It's right. There's obviously the downside with Schultz is, Zeke played all last year with a banged up PCL, and he did not look great. So, that's the downside. But again, I'm just shooting for upside here. Like, if you have the tight end 9 in a 10 or 12 team league, all that means is you have one of the worst tight ends in your league. Give yourself a chance.
Yeah, I'm with you. Trade Khalil Herbert and Miles Sanders for Jonathan Taylor. I don't think you get that job done.
That's a question for Trade Daddy.
Yeah. Well, you would be surprised. So I have a Discord, and I've probably gotten 10 this morning of JT owners who are 0-3, 1-3 or 0-4 of, well, should I trade Jonathan Taylor for X? And I'm just like, man, I don't know. On paper, it says to do it, right? And I think
Jonathan Taylor's retained value. He's still at 71, third running back on the list.
And I think if we hear more injury news today, he's one that tomorrow, right? He doesn't play tomorrow. Today's Wednesday. He's going to drop, right? You miss a game. It's not going to be a lot, maybe 5 or 10 points, but he's one that could move a little bit. And I'm a little scared because they're just not getting it done. But I think I would, if I have the depth and I have a good team, I would probably be sending away Miles Sanders and Herbert for Jonathan Taylor. If I'm the Jonathan Taylor owner, I'm probably trying really hard not to send Jonathan Taylor for that, because I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's even probably pretty close.
Probably not, yeah. Let's try and rapid fire some of these questions in our last 10 minutes here. So Blank asking, how do you feel about Najee's value specifically versus James Conner, 10 team PPR? Najee Harris on this list has 44 trade value points. You need a measurement. You need like a strong unit.
Hog.
Alex, that we can use. 45 hogs. Simon scared the hell out of me. Najee Harris, tier 3 running back still. How are you guys feeling about Najee Harris' value?
I like him over Connor, but I'm disappointed with both and a little sad, I guess.
I'm not. We talked about a little bit earlier. Najee Harris right there around DeAndre Swift, right below Leonard Fournette. Like, that's not how I'm viewing him rest of the season. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trading for the value he's currently at. I'm concerned. I share the concerns we talked about earlier. The foot, and then that offensive line is terrible, and we've got a rookie quarterback stepping in on a team that already hasn't looked good. So he's not up there in that tier for me, and I'm likely not trying to trade for him. Now, in comparison to James Conner, similarly valued. I'm not trading either one for the other. That's two players. You nailed it, Alex. They're both disappointing.
I think the move with that group of guys, I look at like Najee Harris, Alvin Kamara, maybe even DeAndre Swift with the injury, is that like if you could just give up a little bit to get up into that like mix in Aaron Jones, Fournette world, then dude, you can you sleep so much better at night, right? Like if you can just sneak on in there, dude.
Like a Najee Harris plus a
Edge
DJ
player.
Moore to sneak up into there. Is that too much?
Nice.
Take a guy and that's the perfect player, Simon. Because like take a guy that's been in your lineup and who's probably sitting in your lineup right now that you want to get out of your lineup for somebody on the bench. Like somebody you've been sitting there saying, like, I really want to get Terry McLaurin out of my lineup. Maybe a bad example, but like somebody that you just look at and you're like, I need to get this guy out of my lineup DJ Moore, so I can start this exciting guy on my bench, package that dude up, and just move up to a safer place. Because like those dudes are in the risky zone, right? All three of those guys, Harris, Swift, and Kamara, on the same spot in this chart, a little banged up. Offense is super weird. Who knows what's going to happen? So if you can just get up on that next ledge, that'd be cool.
So and maybe leave them in your lineup when you send that trade too, so they look when they go and look at it, like leave them there so it looks like they're a starter. I try and do that sometimes. I put Kadarius Toney in my lineup, and now I'm not fooling anybody with that.
But you got it, right? You got to at least put that little bit of extra effort in to put them into your lineup. But Goop, I love that. Like maybe you've got a Romeo Doubs sitting on your bench, right? And you wanna squeeze him in your lineup, but you've been having trouble putting him in over a DJ Moore. But you trade DJ Moore away, upgrade your running back position. That's no problem. And you don't even have to make that decision. Welcome to the lineup, Dobbs.
All right, guys, let's keep this moving here. I get Chubb, St. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Akers, and I give up CD, Michael Thomas, and Hunt. Quickly, yes or no? What do you guys think?
It seems like a no-brainer, right? Did I hear it wrong? So Chubb.
I get Chubb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Cam Akers. I give up CD Lamb, Michael Thomas, and Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm trying to figure out what I'm missing. You take the Chubb side, man. You run.
Yeah, like unless you have no depth, like right, like where you're starting literally no one, then you can't do it. But like that's a slam dunk.
Yeah, that's a slam dunk. Yeah, I'm on the Chubb side.
And then we got Connor in here saying, "Do I accept this Jonathan Taylor for Dameon Pierce and Cortland Sutton trade?"
No,
it's not enough for me.
No,
still,
you need more than that.
Think of it as like Jonathan Taylor, even though he's a little bit injured, people still look at him as the best fantasy player in the league. And if you're not getting something that you think you should get for the best fantasy player in the league, don't make that trade. Like it's got to be a haul to trade away someone like Jonathan Taylor in my mind.
Yeah, like I want at least a tier 3, one of those tier 3 disappointing running backs, but still, like I'm not going all the way down to Pierce. Like that's too far. I can't do it.
And then we got Eric Woods asking, trade Jeff Wilson for Kyle Pitts. I have Mitchell on IR and Eckler plus Breece Hall for running backs right now. I'm starting Robert Tonyan. What do you guys think? Would you trade Jeff Wilson for Kyle Pitts?
Sure. Elijah Mitchell's coming back, right? Like, and Jeff Wilson's a replacement level running back. Like, I think you can find
that's a good
some
trade.
Production to fill it. That's a good trade. Go get Kyle Pitts and see if he breaks out. See if we get a change in this offensive philosophy.
Trade short-term value for long-term value. Yeah. Let's see. We got some more in here. Algier, Brian Robinson, or Mike Boone, half PPR. Question for this week. What do you guys think of that? Tyler Algier, Brian Robinson, or Mike Boone?
Not starting Brian Robinson. Can't.
No, we don't know if he's playing.
Probably start Algier, man. He was carving out a role with Patterson healthy. Get him in there.
Yeah. I think Algier's the safest, or it makes the most sense this week, out of those three guys.
And then maybe don't watch the games.
Maybe just close your eyes.
Yeah.
Alex, I want to thank you so much for coming on and hanging out with us this morning, going through some of these trade values. We really appreciate it, my man.
No, it's always great. I'll see you guys next week.
And everybody, if you're not following our friend Alex on Twitter, go and remedy that right this instance. He's on Twitter at PeakedInHS_FF. And you can find him on Patreon at Peaked in High School as well. Alex, we'll see you next Wednesday. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, brother.
And guys, everybody listening to us here this morning, thanks so much for hanging out with us. We will be back tomorrow morning from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern time. But if you want more before that, head on over to our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy and make sure you hit that subscribe button. Coming up next here, we've got Keith and Moose, followed by Lunch Money with Kyle Elfrink, who is on here with us today as well. So stick around here on Better Sports Network. Until tomorrow, though, we'll see you, everyone.